All right, go.
Yeah, 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
Yes, 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a... I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Okay. Go.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
Just do it! Don't let do it. Yesterday said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it!
All right, you're going back. You're going to standing. Okay. All right. Are you intimidating me? Because you're trying to.
It's about to die, so I had to.
All right. You know what? I got a standing desk too, Jace. I can stand up too. You think you're cool? Think I can't do a stream standing up, Jace?
Hey, what's going on? It's your man Julito McCullum from HBO's The Wire. Some people say it's the greatest TV show ever, but you are watching Fireside Chats with the homie Big Chief Burrito.
Hi, I'm Nick Mangold, 7-time Pro Bowler, and you are listening to Fireside Chats with Big Chief Burrito.
I appreciate your time, brother. Thank you very much for coming on the show today. The best of luck. What is up, everybody? It is your boy Lou Martinez here with
Hi, Sofia Carrillo. What's up? Hello.
Sofia Carrillo. Hello.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 2 a.m. Burrito podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we still have the fireside chat.
We still have the fit. I know it's very confusing, and then also this is only temporary, right? We're gonna do a new one with a new name and stuff.
Well, this is. I mean, yes and no. I mean, we have to create new profiles, pages, and everything for whatever the spinoff is. But welcome to the 2 a.m. Burrito podcast. As of right now, this is the podcast that I hold as Big Chief Burrito, CEO, President, and Chief of Burritos for 2 a.m. Burrito Company. With my co-host, Sofia Carrillo. Kenneth also is Kenneth Jenkins, also a co-host sometimes when we do more of a standard weekly, bi-weekly podcast sort of setup. But yeah, the main reason that we are doing this is that you and I have for a long time wanted to do some sort of more traditional pod, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to attempt to start it off with the same, 2 a.m. Burrito channels that I'm using, but trying to get it to be more focused on topics that we're both into, more topics that are more relevant to the Latino Latinx community, and basically our take on sort of reviews of what's happening and what's hot during a week or 2 week period, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What
Current
is your
events,
goal with it?
baby.
Current
Yeah,
type events.
current events. Yeah, but with a Latinx focus, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many different podcasts out there for that cater to niche communities.
Mm-hmm.
And me and you are both pretty good public personas, and this might mean that we'll tag team some interviews, you know, uh, tag team some booty at some point in the interview streets. If there's topics that are relevant to both of us or that just kind of happen to be hot, and
We're going to the
also
streets. What?
taking it to the interview streets, and then also talk about what's happening in the world. So thank you everybody that's popped in. Thank you to La Bobis for stopping by the chat. How you doing?
Ah,
Throwing out the hearts.
crazy.
Thank you. So let's jump into it, Miss Carrillo. We wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that are happening in the world right now. What was your first thing that you wanted to bring up?
Um. Well, I have a few topics. I wanted to kick it off with probably okay. It's Black History Month, right?
Right.
I know we said
Who better?
Latinx,
Who
but
better?
who better to start this off? Happy Black History Month.
Who better
So
to? Yeah.
who better to fuck this up than Ted Cruz? Am I right?
What do you do?
Um, so I don't know if you heard that Justice Breyer is retiring from the Supreme Court.
Correct.
He is more left leaning, which means that he's going to leave a spot open. Biden is going to appoint someone. Biden stated that he will appoint a Black woman as a Supreme Court justice. And he seemed to have received quite a bit of backlash, the loudest of which was probably Ted Cruz. So I kind of wanted to speak on that a little bit and get your take. So I actually have him quoted. He said,
Mhm.
he basically said that it is offensive and saying to 94% of Americans, I don't care about you, you're ineligible. Those were his main those are his main words. Um so yes, thoughts on that. Do you think it's unfair for President Biden to essentially say it's going to be a Black woman no
Well,
matter what?
I saw a little bit about this. First off, I think that African American history is also Latinx history because of they're what, like 30% of
Afro-Latinos.
Latinos are pretty much are Afro Latinos, or we're all mixed in there somewhere. So number one, but this is something, and I saw a couple of videos of this that Ronald Reagan said this when he was running for president. He said, "I will appoint a woman to the Supreme Court." So did Bill Clinton, and it wasn't a big deal. This is very textbook Republican right wing sort of. No matter what, we're going. I mean, we can both agree that both extremes have the ability to be two-faced, or what's the word I'm looking for here? Just basically go against something that they said recently as like a dig, right? So
Mhm. Like
so
con
both
what's the word? Anyway, you continue.
yeah, there's a word there that smart people know
Mhm.
that I forgot for a second. I'll give you an example, which was the appointment of the last Supreme Court justice, which they said at the end of Obama's second term, oh, we can't appoint somebody with this little time. We're going to want to wait until the American people have a say. So we're not going to appoint a new president until we have an election. And then at the end of Trump's first term, they're like, oh, no,
The
no, we're going.
RBG.
Right.
Her body wasn't even cold yet,
Yeah.
and they appointed
So
someone. Yes.
So you have a literal situation where Republicans and Democrats switch side on the topic,
Mhm.
and both were trying to play the moral card of righteousness, saying, well, and then the Republicans even were quoted saying, you can't quote me on this. We will not go through the process of selecting a new Chief Justice when it's so close to an election. And the Democrats were like, oh my God, you can't do it. And then they completely just switched talking points. And then they're
Yeah.
like, oh no, it's our job to put them through. There's not, and then so at the fringes and at the edges, you obviously have that contradiction of them saying that. So it doesn't surprise me.
Mhm.
It is, I think, a weak sort of attack from coming from the Let's Go Brandon crowd.
Right.
It's not very robust. There's no, it doesn't have a lot of, it's like a nothing burger. It
Hmm.
is very predictable that they were going to try to say something bad about it.
Of course.
Biden is only elected because of two things. The Democratic National Committee is a bunch of fucking jellyfish and spineless bastards. They robbed our
Hmm.
boy twice,
Yep.
and two times they robbed him. And Biden won a southern state because of the black vote. And so he has to appease his base, right?
Hmm.
He has to do this because there's a campaign promise, and because it's the right thing to do. There's like it could like Kamala Harris could be president in 8 years and say she wants to appoint the first Indian American or East Asian American person to the Supreme Court, and there would be nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely a ton of qualified female African American candidates to fill the Supreme Court seat. I
Right.
for one
And I
think
think,
we could use auntie on the Supreme Court. We
hell
need
yeah.
somebody. Um, so why not? Why not? I would take it even farther, Sophia.
Okay, go for it. Please do.
I would take it even farther. I think that if they don't want to nominate, um, if they got a problem with an African American woman being nominated to Supreme Court, then
Hmm.
maybe then I think we should. I suggest we try this lady out here.
Oh my God. Yes, I saw that. Oh my God.
And that
Probably
face.
she's white though, man.
She's got so.
Backing it up. My God, that's
It's
me.
the
That's
tongue
me
out.
being
It's the tongue
preachy.
out. It's the tongue out for me.
It's so tongue out for me. Oh my
Yes,
God. That is all
somebody.
I want to be in life.
Can somebody come get their grandma from TikTok, please?
No, please never come get her. She's amazing. Yeah,
Um,
I don't know. It's a like you said, it's a big nothing sandwich. I think that it's just more race baiting from the right. Out of 115 justices, I think it was like 112 were white and 110 were men. So I think we can take one more, like not even more. I think this would be the first one. Black woman Supreme Court justice. I think it's time. It doesn't really, and it doesn't really matter. Um, I can
you,
understand why the right would be, get their panties in a bunch over this, but it's not substantive at all.
do you think that it's performative allyship? Basically like kneeling down with the African garb and doing the
Right.
moment of silence and do you think it's
Um,
performative or do you think? I mean,
that's
it's
that's a good
hard.
question.
It's hard not to call anything that entrenched Democrats do as performative
Mhm.
because they're just so prone to it.
It is, yeah, no, it is unfortunate, and also we haven't. There's been plenty of times in the past where like you appoint um a Republican. Well, they can't have a political affiliation, quote unquote, but you appoint somebody who wants, who says they're more left leaning or whatever, and then later they just switch it up. So it's not unforeseen that would happen. And then from Biden, I yeah, no, I don't trust them. I don't trust Democrats, Republicans, no, really anybody. So I think it is beneficial in the Supreme Court level to have someone who is more left leaning. For example, what's a hot topic right now? Abortion. So if it comes down to the Supreme Court, I would love for there to be more left leaning justices. Gay marriage was one of them. It would have never passed with the Supreme Court justice that we have right now. The ratio right now is what is it? What with the whoever the new one is, it's going to be like 6-2, I
Yeah,
think.
basically, this is only going to allow him to can keep the 63 number, right?
Yeah,
So
and it's
unless
because okay, so he retired and then RBG died. Yeah, because we had a majority not too long ago.
yeah, Trump
And
appointed three, right? Trump
yeah,
appointed
I think he
three.
appointed 3. Yeah, it was insane. And we had a majority before that. So again, gay marriage would have never passed. Now I'm afraid that like, even abortion rights are going to be illegal and stuff like that. So when it comes to the Supreme Court justice, even if there's corruption, sadly, I will take a slightly left-leaning Supreme Court justice over like just a right one, you know? So at
Um,
that level, even though I do think there's corruption, I do not trust most people. I will take a left-leaning Supreme Court justice over not. What about
I
you?
think I think that yeah, I think the problem is that that these things that have been sort of long dormant, like I was watching an episode of Seinfeld today because
Hmm.
it's on Netflix, and this is an episode from like 1997,
Who watches
1998.
Seinfeld?
I
Is that a
me,
thing?
I don't know. I don't know. It was right there on the front page. I was like, let me go back through this and see if I like it at all. And again,
Mhm.
because my whole bit was that every Seinfeld episode could be solved with a smartphone because it was just all about like miscommunication and having to come home to check your messages and all these other dumb things that are not relevant
Mhm.
today. But even they were having pure. Actually, it was the episode that was on before this, and the whole thing was Elaine was deciding what restaurant she would go to, what guy she would date based specifically on their abortion views. So she would mix it into the
Oh, that is
conversation.
interesting.
And this was 1998. And the dude in
Mhm.
the car literally said, one day we're going to have enough people on that Supreme Court to overturn that ridiculous law. This was
No!
like
That is
literally, I
my
was watching
worst
this.
nightmare.
This is literally like 20 minutes ago. I was watching this episode.
That's so
So,
scary. And now I just brought it up.
and now it's essentially a reality,
Yeah.
where they have the votes to overturn it if they bring it up
Mhm.
there.
No, yeah. And quote me on this. I think the next president is going to be a Republican. I don't think that the Democrats are going to take it again. I think that we barely scathed by, and in 2024 we're going to have a Republican president. So I think, and I think they know that, and that's why this justice retired this year,
Uh,
as opposed to waiting.
I mean, I'm almost completely all the way out on on Democrats anyway, because they try to they they're gutless, really.
Hmm.
They're incredibly gutless. They take the moral ground and they try to act like they're holier than everybody. They try to be on the right side of history, but they don't take the action when they have a majority. They try to put this like weak sauce immigration policy through. They talk it up. They get elected on it. They get young Latin kids, guys, girls, teenagers that are motivated, like in Arizona with cinema, and all over the country. And these people help get them elected. They work for them for free. They campaign. They say they're for Latinos. They have a majority, and then they have the parliamentarian, which is a hired position in the Senate,
Hmm.
and whose decision, who's not elected, and they disagree with something that they're trying to put through, and so they say, "Oh, sorry, we can't do that, but we're the
Yeah.
party for Latinos, so just keep voting for us blindly because that's what you do unless you're a Republican and you're a Cuban
Even
or
though we
you're."
will get nothing done. Hi, baby. My dog's here.
So I am almost 100% out in total on the Democratic Party for that reason, because if a Republican was trying to pass something, and they've done this in the past,
Hmm.
and the parliamentarian said no, this doesn't work, what they do is they fire and replace the parliamentarian with somebody who agrees with the decision so that they can
Hmm.
pass their shit with a simple majority.
Hmm.
So uh, the Democratic Party is nothing but talk. Nothing but talk, and trying to get a Republican Party that is so far in right field
Hmm.
that what passes as normal is the vice president coming on and saying, "Oh, I don't have the right to overthrow an election." And the majority of the party is so
Yep.
far right that when somebody just says something normal, they're like, "Oh, he's a traitor. He's a rhino. He's a disgrace to the
Yeah.
fucking." So I mean, I think that I don't want to consider myself a Democratic. I was a Bernie bro. I continue to be a Bernie bro.
Hmm.
Even though they try to make that sound like a bad thing. Um, and I do feel that I'm a gray area person, so there's got to be some sort of great gray area unifier at some point. That's like that that's leaning the right way on a couple of things, but also has some common shit. Maybe Tulsi Gabbard. Maybe Tulsi Gabbard.
God no, God no. She's shifting. Have you heard her lately? She's a totally Republican. My favorite Republican. There you go, Kurt. Kurt
I
gets
mean
it.
that's like saying your favorite rash, right? My favorite rash is when it's right under my fingernails. I can stand them.
That's a great
Uh,
rash.
who's your favorite Republican, Sofia?
Oh God, so many. I love them so much. Oh my gosh, my gay best friend just turned into a Republican recently, so I think he'd have to be my favorite.
Log cabin
He
Republican?
joined, he joined the dark side. Isn't that crazy? I
I
can
mean,
no longer talk about politics with him.
that's a weird
Hi,
one. I
Daniel. Are
mean,
you listening? Hi. Love you.
I was gonna say, is it Daniel?
Yeah, it is.
He's in the log cabin. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
For me, it's got to be Ronald Reagan. Because as much as the Democrats talk about meaningful immigration reform, he
Mhm.
was the last person that actually passed meaningful immigration reform. He had a common
Did
sense
he?
immigration approach. Yeah, he passed amnesty in 1987, which is the reason that a lot of my family was able to get their papers and stuff back in. So even though he spread crack throughout the inner city and did a
Yeah,
bunch
because
of
I was
other
gonna say
horrible
he
shit,
was like
he did a
exactly.
bunch of horrible
He
shit. But if you're asking me
Mhm.
who my favorite Republican is, it's Ronald Reagan.
That's interesting. It's like it's really weird to choose. It's like
Yeah,
really
do
who
you
is
think that
there?
we're? Do you think that there's? I guess things are set up
It's
for you
like
to choose a side. It's set up so that
my
people
favorite
choose a side.
Republican is Obama. You heard right.
Your favorite centrist? Yeah,
You heard
Obama
right.
was a centrist. Obama deported more people than Clinton
Centrist
and
by what
Bush.
metric? Because listen, this country has no centrism. This country is right and alt right.
Well,
The
no,
Democrats are just Republican light, honestly.
Democrats that act like they're left but are actually centrist, like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe
Mhm.
Biden, are what Republicans used to be. You
Exactly.
know,
So I just call him
Th-
Republican light at this point.
they're right of
Bill
centers.
Clinton as well.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even, yeah.
Bill was a little bit more a leftist, but I think that there's a right of what left used to be, which is
Hmm.
now like centrist, and Joe Biden is firmly in that, and Obama was even more firmly there as well.
Yeah,
But
what I
Obama,
want is just to really quickly, because I was gonna say slowly, but no, we should really quickly move the Overton window back to how it was, back to left being left, right being right, and centrism actually being centrism, as opposed to just there two being two Republican parties.
yeah, and then the
Terrible.
what is common sense like left is called communism, even though it's just common sense
Exactly, or
like
socialism.
yeah, like common sense
Yeah.
democratic socialism.
Hmm.
But people it's what's the thing? It's about the cruelness, right? They want to be. It's about being cruel. It's the cruelness
Yeah.
is the point. That's the reason. Um, right. So that's been our
Yeah.
political moment.
So there's that. That was a political moment for the podcast. Your
So yeah.
turn.
So fuck Ted Cruz, number one.
Yeah, I'm also
Uh,
fucking.
and I think it's stupid that he would even say that, but it's normal. They also all the Fox News are running with the oh my god, it's so racist to pick a black woman for.
Yeah, and I think that I mean we can continue talking about this because we can also spread it to like just there being a quota, whether it's in film, whether it's like in jobs or anything. And I think that's becoming a hot topic for people to say that, like, oh, now it's not fair because they only want people of color, and white people I think find it very
Yeah,
offensive.
there's the go-to excuse for why you didn't get a job is now because oh they needed to hire a minority or they didn't
Yeah,
have they had too many white people there. So the mediocre white man's answer currently is
like
there's too many diversity hires and
yeah,
that's
there's so
why I
many
didn't
different
get the job. That's
things.
why I didn't get the role. That's why I didn't get the part.
Hmm.
And like you said, the same thing with Supreme Courts. Out of 100% of the Supreme Courts, 99.9% of them have been white males. Now all of
Hmm.
a sudden we have a couple of women, Sotomayor, Latina
Hmm.
woman, and now we're gonna have a African American woman. So it
Yeah,
is
so
just it is just course correction. The same way
exactly.
99% of roles were played by men and women that were white before, and now and this is a thin line for me because I always say make the movie that you want. It's also why there's an overcorrection in cinema to having people play their authentic selves on films versus acting and letting people act like somebody else, which is a whole other topic, is because I think that gets really close to eliminating acting as an art if you can only
Hmm.
play, if you can only play yourself, right?
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah.
but the correction is, for 100 years of cinema, you couldn't play yourself. Only, brown people were played by white people with brown paint. It was
Hmm.
so there's got to be. Kurt says that's why you didn't get the girlfriend. It was a anti-diversity. All right. I wanted to jump into, now that we've tackled racism.
Hmm. Of
West
course,
Side
we
Story.
fixed it, right? We fixed all of it. West Side Story.
Bonnie says, well,
Yeah, the movie,
Bonnie,
right?
yeah, you know what I think the
Hey,
thing with
Bonnie.
West Side, the thing with West Side Story is that they sometimes this is what happens. Sometimes production companies equate African American talent alongside Latinx mestizo talent as
Hmm.
enough without showcasing Afro Latinx talent. So they're
Hmm.
like, we have a bunch of mestizo people in the main cast. We have Afro Latino dancers in the background, and we have an African American in the cast, and that should equal representation. We got
Yeah.
the African American. We don't have an Afro Latino, but what's the difference? You still got the Latino West Side Story and stuff like that. So I unfortunately I think some of that is there where
Hmm.
they equate having African American representation and Latino representation as equaling having Afro Latino representation. That's not
Hmm.
the same thing. Uh,
Which is very different. If we learn anything from In the Heights and that debacle, it was kind of also that even within if the Latino community, there's so many types of Latinos and it's so diverse that, you know, you'll never fully get, you can't just cast one black person and say, hey, this is for all the people of color. No, there's so many diverse people to cast.
do you feel that that at some point as an actress, not as a Latina,
Hmm.
but as an actress, you would get angry if you were not allowed to play, for example, um, let's say let's say you're up for the part of a old Mexican writer who was a lesbian but also was autistic. Would you feel, because you know about all that stuff,
Hmm.
would you feel that if for some reason they're like, well, we have an actress that actually has autism and we're
Hmm.
going to cast her instead of you, even though you might be the most talented actress, how would that make you feel?
Mm, I mean, the thing is, the thing is, like, I wouldn't know, right? It's not like they would tell me, like, "Hey, we would have casted you. We would have
Oh, they told
cast you," but like,
they told
well,
you.
they
Oh,
told me. Okay, they
they
told me.
told you.
They
They
told me.
told you.
So
They
I
say,
know
we love you, Sophia, but we feel like if we
we
cast
have to do
you,
this.
if
Hmm.
we cast you and we don't cast somebody that's on the spectrum, that we're going to get shit for it.
Hmm.
But you're the more talented. You are the best actor for playing this 30-year-old lesbian Mexican American writer
Okay,
from the
very
50s.
specific. Are
From
you
the
writing a
50s.
script?
No, I'm just saying, if there was a story about a 30-year-old Mexican American
Yeah.
lesbian writing, you'd probably be up for the part. Um,
Hmm.
but she has to be a little bit on the spectrum because it's a big part of her character. And you're like, well, I can play that. I know tons
Hmm.
about it. I know I study in this area. I can definitely do an honest portrayal in my research as an actress because acting is what I love for this part.
Hmm. Yeah.
But casting in 2025 when this movie takes place is like, mm-mm.
Hmm.
Yep, by yes, Mexican American, yes, actor, yes, okay, she looks like the person, yes, but there's this one part of this character that this person has and she doesn't have that.
Hmm. Well, I mean, it would be a hard pill to swallow emotionally for me. Like, I'd be like, man, that sucks. Um, but at the end of the day, it's their publicity that they're also looking out for. So if they feel like it's gonna cause some backlash and that's enough to say no to me, there's nothing I can do. Like, that's a society we live in, and that kind of sucks, right? And like you said, there's some overcorrection that's being done. And hey man, if I don't fit the role, That sucks. But
You fit the role. You would just have to act. You
well,
wouldn't be
yeah,
playing
but
yourself. You'd be
act a disability
acting.
that right, a disability that I don't have. So then it's a question of like you're getting into the argument of let actors act, right? Of
Right.
like
I'm playing it. I'm playing
should have
devil's advocate.
Would Leonardo DiCaprio have gotten the role of like what's
What's
eating
eating Gilbert
Gilbert
Grape?
Grape? Yeah, exactly. In 2022, probably not. Um, so yeah, it's weird. It would definitely hurt me emotionally. Like I would be disappointed. Um, but I can understand. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Does that make sense? I'm definitely not going to become one of those people that's like, "Oh, I didn't get the pot and they're cheating me out of a pot that is mine. I didn't write it. It's whatever, whatever. It's okay. There's plenty of parts to go around."
I'm just playing devil's advocate, obviously,
Mhm.
because I do, or I did have a take that the closer you get to that line, the more you eliminate. Because, like you said, would Leonardo DiCaprio
Mhm.
be able to play somebody who's mentally deficient in the way
He
that the
wouldn't.
character
He
from,
not
or
right
he
now.
would
I
get
don't
shit
think
for it.
so.
Bryan
No.
Cranston's got shit for playing a quadriplegic person.
Hmm.
So the Ruby Rose wasn't gay enough for, right? She wasn't gay enough for, like I said, Kurt said, how come the guy who played Dexter isn't an actual serial killer,
I see. We hire a real serial killer.
right?
Yeah,
So those things definitely bump up against each other, right? I
they
don't know
do.
if you want to call one like progressiveness or or something like an overcorrection or wokeness or whatever the fuck you want to, whatever term you want to throw at it for casting. But I do think that I don't want to say slippery slope either, but I do feel that's a valid argument for actors to have, which is at what point is the art, the skill, the element of acting eliminated from acting? You
I
still there?
want to
Are you muted?
reply, but my dog is barking up a storm. Can you hear her?
Yes. Yeah. Yo Climb
She's
say,
like,
hey, thanks for stopping by. Ho Climb.
"Hey, Ho climb."
Ho
People will
Climb.
always find something to complain about. Yeah, and so that's the thing, which because the more people complain, the more I don't want to say it invalidates other viewpoints, but it makes other more serious claims like blackface, like white actors put stuff like that. I feel like it makes it less serious or less valid, I guess. Because yeah, how are you gonna? I mean, I don't know. And then who's the judge on all this? Who's the gatekeeper for what is actually valid and what people can be mad about?
Yeah.
So it's a tough one, and it's really hard to not get people angry about it. So I don't know, man. I do understand your take though, because like I think we've talked about this before,
Hmm.
where at what point does it get to the part where like you're not letting any actors act anymore and you have to cast the person who is the role? Then what's the
Right.
point in acting?
Right. And then this might be the thought process that white people are going through right now, or that are complaining
Mhm.
that they're not getting roles, which is like, I can't. Like what's Javier Bardem couldn't play Ricky Ricardo because he wasn't Cuban, or he was like,
Right.
well, he's not even Latino, he's European, right?
Hmm.
When you gonna stop kicking your dog, Sophia? Stop kicking your dog under the table.
Someone's home. Hold on. Let me mute. Hold on. You keep
Yeah,
talking.
you mute yourself for a second while I continue on our mission here. We're live recording our new to be determined name podcast for the Lufia stream with Sofia Carrillo. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hookline. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Vonnie, for stopping by. Make sure that you guys are following the channel, Tuna and Burrito, to keep up. Thank you, Daisy, for stopping by as well, and everybody that's here. Sophia's with us. We got a bunch of topics on the table. We're going to try to do this on a either weekly or bi-weekly basis moving forward and talk about things from a Latinx slant. Sophia is still muted. You have to unmute yourself, Sophia, too, if you want to join.
Because I'm a
Hey.
dog of 3 and they are loud. I
Because
think
you, like
someone
I did, added a young dog to your
Oh
two old
god,
dog
they're back.
mix.
Oh, this big one's back. See, there's 3 of them. Oh my god. Honey, go to bed. Go to sleep, mommy. Yeah.
My dogs are
I'm a
just behind me
mother.
sleeping. Why are you guys all crazy? Why are you so crazy?
They're puppies and small and crazy. Hold on.
Hmm.
Ah,
Hmm.
all right.
All
Okay,
right,
go ahead.
let's move on to something a little bit lighter.
Yes, your turn. You choose. Your turn to choose a topic.
All right, homophobia.
That is not the topic that you sent me. Oh
No,
wait, yes, I know where this is
yeah.
going. Continue.
Okay,
Continue.
homophobia. All right,
Mhm.
so let's do a which one is worse. All right, so soccer fans in Mexico. This is a story on ESPN. Soccer fans in Mexico will be getting 5-year bans from stadiums if they are found to make anti-gay chants. The Mexican Football Federation president said on Monday. The FMF have struggled to curtail an anti-gay chant that is often shouted by Mexico supporters when an opposing goalkeeper takes a goal kick. FIFA has in recent years handed the FMF fines and stadium bans that have forwarded matches behind closed doors due to fan behavior. Example is here. This is during a World Cup game. You can see the Brazilian fans like, okay, what's going on here? And this is something that happens continuously. All right, I also wanted to play this for you here. These are 50,000 white people in Atlanta doing a tomahawk chop and going like this because their team is the Braves. All right, and this is about 75,000 white people in Kansas City. All white, all white, all white.
Oh, what? Oh, what? Oh, what?
All in unison.
Yeah.
That guy looks like he's a little, maybe half Mexican or something. All right. So, is there a difference between those two different types of videos? Which one is worse?
So I need a little education on the tomahawk chop, and it has to do with Native Americans. But what's the meaning behind that?
The meaning is that it's a I don't know if it's Cowboys and Indians and in the 1940s and 50s when all these teams were being made was always a big part of names. Like if you only had a few options for names, like people used to name the teams something crazy like Dodgers because you used to have to dodge trolley carts in Brooklyn, and so they were the Brooklyn Dodgers. Okay, what the fuck is a Metropolitan? The New York Mets, a Knick, and a lot of teams were named after Native Americans. The Chiefs, the Queens College team was the Redmen.
What are the Redskins?
The Cleveland Indians, the
Indians,
Washington Redskins, the two major ones that are still around are the Atlanta Braves and the Kansas City Chiefs. Both that their whole aesthetic is Native American war chants. So they both have a tomahawk. This was probably in the 90s. The Atlanta Braves started doing it, where they would play the drum, they would play the music, and all the fans would start doing the tomahawk chop in the stands, like the wave or like anything, something to hype up the team, something to do in unity. Yeah. But since
I just wanted to know if there was like a specific like thing that was offensive, the action itself, but it's more so the team name, right? And
it's a team name, and the majority of the team fan base that's at the stadium that can afford the seats are all white, and they're doing, and they're basically
wearing Native American garments and painted faces.
Painted faces. It's all part of their team spirit, and don't be so sensitive about it. The team's been named the Chiefs, and I know 2 Indian people that don't care about it. And they find the one, and oftentimes, like they did in Washington Redskins went and found a Native American consultancy company or some Native American company, gave them a bunch of money so that they would say, we don't find it offensive. But all the other nations and all the other Indian groups were like, Native American groups were like, yeah, it's super offensive.
Of
The
course.
Cleveland Indians changed their names to the Guardians. The Washington Redskins changed their name to the Washington Football Team, and now they changed their name to the Washington Commanders. The two
Okay.
major ones that are still left are the Kansas City Chiefs and the Atlanta
Chiefs.
Braves. So this is a
Okay.
chant in stadium that they do at every game to hype up the crowd. The Mexican chant
That one I get.
is
Yeah. That one I know well.
it, that one you know well,
Yes.
and nobody had a problem with that until recently when I guess yeah, Cleveland changed their name to the Guardians. They went from the Indians to the Guardians.
Hmm.
So again, this is a topic where you have some skin in the game both ways.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, it's kind of unfair to say which one is worse because they're both in essence slurs.
Right.
One of them is basically mocking an entire culture. The other one is mocking a sexual preference or
Hmm.
sexuality.
Hmm.
Um, are they both done in jest? Are they both done in good fun? Are there people in each of those respective cultures that still would partake in those chants
Yeah.
because they don't really care or they're not really hurt as by it?
Hmm.
The topic's on the table there, Sophia.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I had to choose, it would probably be definitely the tomahawk chop, just because it's a whole ethnic it's a whole ethnic group that you are essentially mocking, and not necessarily mocking. I'm sure it is in jest, and I'm sure that they don't mean to mock, but just the act of a white
But
person
mock they
going
do.
somewhere. Yeah, exactly, just like the act of a white person feeling so empowered and emboldened to put on uh paint on their face and Native American garbs, and do like, and the team name, like, I just find that so demeaning and offensive, and it's weird that it's taken this long for them to ask the actual ethnic group that it is, essentially mocking. Does it bother you? Does it bother you by any chance? Like, why did it take this long? That is intense. That's a lot. You're selling merch, you're doing chants, you're wearing outfits. What, like, Redskins? Think about that. Like, oh my gosh, it's just, I feel like that's as offensive as you can get, I guess.
Right.
Like, that sounds
And I
extreme to me.
And I think you can make an argument that if you even listen to the old Paul Rodriguez specials, he would do the mas puto bit where he was basically saying, and South Park did it,
Mhm.
where they were trying to basically take a word and say, well, that word isn't what it means anymore. Um, you know,
And
and
that's what I was. Mhm.
so I think that's kind of the argument that people saying that is, and also in this stadium, they're basically mocking and making believe they're cosplaying as an entire race of people. Whereas in the
Mhm.
Mexican chant, they're
Distracting a
they're basically
goalie.
yeah, they're trying to psych out one player on the team,
Mhm.
right? By
Yes.
by insulting him and talking shit.
Yeah, like, we can change that word if it's the slur. I'm sure we can change it to any other, because the point of that chant is to distract the goalie. Um, is it offensive? I'll say yes, slightly, as a queer, but not personally, in the sense that I didn't even know what the slur meant, um, until very recently, and it was one of those things that I think, at least, like, to the last few generations, it's lost its meaning. I don't know that many people that I can ask, "Hey, what's the definition of this term?" And then they would be like, "Oh, it's a gay male prostitute." That's I can't say that, like, we reclaim the word the way that, like, the F word, or queer, like, those terms have been really, really reclaimed. So that word in Spanish, I don't think it's been reclaimed, but also knowing a lot of Mexican gays, I don't think it offends them as much as probably someone wearing a sombrero, or making a team called the Beaners or something like that. Like, that would get me. Like I'm like, hey, let's not.
So you're equating the tomahawk chop to the white person walking around with a
If
sombrero
a
and
white
Cinco de
person had a
Mayo,
team, yeah, exactly, yeah. But imagine doing that as like a
or
team, as like a
dressed
sport.
up like a Mexican
Like
bandolette.
I'm a beaner. Like I'd be like, the fuck, John
So
Smith, excuse me.
so this is like them dressing up like cholos or pistoleros or something like that for Halloween.
Yeah, I would say I find more offense in that than I do the chant because A, the chant is by Mexicans. Um, B, I do think the word is offensive, but I think it's been somewhat reclaimed, somewhat, or at least the definition has lost its meaning
Okay.
by and large. Uh, then again, I am not a male homosexual in Mexico. So there are people that I'm sure might disagree. Um, but I would say that the two cannot are not necessarily, can't be equated. Not exactly.
Then
What do you
the
think?
logical follow up on that is, well, I think that here two follow ups for that. Number
Hmm.
one, I think that it's an interesting point that you bring up because the question is, should something be deemed offensive? Like, are
By the group
I
that it
like
affects.
I watch those videos right now and I'm like, it's cringy to watch all the people, 70,000 white people doing that in a stadium. It's
Hmm.
cringy. I mean, and yeah, there's other NFL fandom skews across all races, black, Latin, stuff like that. So let's say 70,000 people, 75% of them white. It's still cringy to see them doing that. Um, but do you and I have the right to say that the Native American chant is offensive? Should only the people that is, or are we using um the human resources defense, which is like would an average person find this offensive, right?
Hmm.
Would a reasonable person find this offensive? Is that enough to say this is offensive and there should be action taken?
Hmm.
Or do those actual people that are the ones targeted be the ones that get to say this is offensive or no, this is not offensive? We talked before about Latino people not necessarily being prone to being offended by stuff like that, like the Shia LaBeouf brown face stuff, and that like nobody gave a fuck. No,
Hmm.
not one Mexican or Latino person was like, Shia LaBeouf playing a Mexican gangster. Oh my God, no, no,
Yeah.
not one, no, nobody, and they still try to write the headlines. Latinos mad at Shia LaBeouf brown face. No,
Yeah.
we were not. It did not matter. So should the people? So who's the person in charge? And number two, my follow up would be, what would it take for Mexican fans to actually stop the chant or change it? Because I've seen all the "ya páralo" and this and that
Hmm.
and the that's enough. And now the fans themselves that get caught doing it are going to get 5-year bans. Or like, would they actually have to say like no World Cup for Mexico? Like 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 just show up like, listen, you either stop it or if we hear it
Yeah.
one more time, that's it. You guys are banned from World Cups for like the next 8 years.
Because another thing is they're making it seem like it's the word that gets them, but I'm pretty sure that FIFA doesn't like the fact that they're distracting a goalie. Like it's that you don't think so? Because whenever other
No,
teams do it, I think other teams like adopted it briefly, but like
no.
um
I think
it's the word, the
I
slur.
think FIFA is a world organization, and
Hmm.
they have to, whether they want to or whether they actually feel for it or not, they have to take stances against racism and homophobia because they're
Hmm.
a global brand. And they have to have a front facing policy that we are against homophobia and we're against racism. In Europe and Spain, black players, the opposing fans sometimes throw bananas at them when they're on the field,
Hmm.
like in Spain and Italy. Black players get treated like shit. That's a huge thing for FIFA is they've stopped matches. They've had both teams walk off the field because there was fans from opposing teams doing racist stuff.
Hmm.
And I feel that they equate wanting to stay a global superpower company like FIFA. They equate that they must have a positive anti-homophobia stance. So
Right.
I don't agree that
I
it's like distracting the goalie. I think that it has to do with just the fact that they're FIFA and they have to be
Because I
anti-homophobia.
agree with that. I do think that it's them trying to be like politically correct, and I think they were just happy that he wasn't being child abuse. True, true. um, yeah. So I agree with you on that. But what I mean, the point that I was trying to make is, let's say all Mexicans just kind of like start a chat and we're like, hey, let's change the word to like pendejo. I don't know, tonto. I don't know, something different. Would they still be mad because the chant is happening? Because I'm pretty sure they don't allow it. I'm pretty sure they kick you out if you try to do the chant, even if it's like
Yeah.
la la la. Like I don't
So
know.
they just kick out
It's a
entire fucking
distraction.
section.
It's a
And I think
distraction.
and I think
Yeah.
at some point there's a little Mexican stubbornness kicking in, which is like individual fans at individual stadiums, like, oh, we're not
Mhm.
supposed to do this. Fuck that shit. We're still gonna do it.
We're still gonna do it, yeah. Because it has
Yeah.
been like such a tradition. Like you go to a soccer game and everyone like you love to do the opposing team like that. It's about hatred for the goalie, honestly.
It is, but really, it's like it's the dumbest fucking thing in the world because it's nothing. It's just a fucking goal kick.
You're just
There's
make
not.
yeah, you're just making I know you're just making noise. Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
you're it's
It's like
this.
yelling at the players like you fucking wanka. Like, you gotta yell at people
It's
sometimes.
like it's like let's come up with a chant, but make it homophobia.
Hmm. Yeah.
let's
I don't
let's
know, but
support our
then
team. Go ahead.
because I was gonna say if we're equating the word that word to homophobia, then you also have to like come down on everyone that just says it on their usual day-to-day language.
Well,
And the thing
and
is, I never really see it being used as a slur, at least anymore. I mean, I've never seen it really being used as a slur, but I don't know. I
it's I mean it's okay. Like for example, in Colombia, you might say
Mhm,
like something is really cool. You say, "Ooh, que puteria." Like
mhm.
that's not necessary. That's not
Yeah.
that's the same
Here,
word, but you
yeah, out of love, you'd be like, "Ay, pinche puto," like, "Che puto, güey," or like if anyone's just kind of like, "You
yeah,
dumbass."
yeah.
It's
And
more of
then
a for me, it's more of a dumbass. It's more like a
in
pendejo, che
Colombia
puto.
in Colombia too, marica is used as like a just like a no
Yeah.
que pues marica no, but not like implying
And
anything. It's
and
just
funny enough, in Mexico, you use maricón, and it's a lot more offensive.
right.
Like, it's more marica or maricón. That's more like that's a gay slur to
Eh,
me. Like that one, if you call a
Yeah,
man that, it's like, oh, what do you
no,
call?
but
What'd you
yeah,
call him?
but they do, but in Colombian, like especially in Medellin, that you hear that word a lot with that, but it's just been adapted as just a term
It's like,
that
dude.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's funny though in Mexico, at least right now, like if you go to anyone in the street and call them a marica or maricón, like they'll beat your ass, like because that's a gay slur right now.
yeah.
Whereas puto, I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
I feel like you know like that's something that if your family, I guess, yeah, your family's saying like, hey, no seas like
Hmm.
I don't know. It just means weak, right? Isn't that? It just
It's
means like
like pussy. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
calling a man a pussy. Like you're just yeah. With the emphasis on you're being girly as well. So yeah, I would say like, hey, that's
And
mean. Let's not be mean. Whereas if I call you a puto, you're not gonna. Are you really gonna think that like I'm calling you a gay prostitute?
So obviously, it's not fair to equate the three videos that I showed you as
Hmm.
being 100% equal, and which one is worse. But I did want to kind of bring up the conversation overall. It's like which is, if we're gonna have every single conversation, then these are the ones that have to happen, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would equate it more to like imagine if there was a imagine if there was a team of white people calling themselves like the wetbacks or something. I'd be
Mm.
pissed. I'd be fucking
Or
pissed.
what if it was like the Lufthansa, or like some sort of German fucking word, and they like the Milwaukee Brewers are
Hmm.
there's their mascot used to be like this guy that was like a beer guy, like a German guy with the lederhosen and everything. What if they
Hmm.
took that German dude to an extreme and he was just like a Nazi? They had like
Yeah.
na Nazi memorabilia and stuff like that. Everybody was doing like all kinds of crazy hand stuff to hype up. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that got the tomahawk chalk stuff got like super normalized, and these
Hmm.
fan bases really were like and now it becomes a thing where it's stubborn because you feel because it's something that you grew up with and you're not offended by it, then why should somebody else be offended? And it's our team and we're the Braves, we're the Chiefs, we don't want to be
It's a
the
personal
names.
attack at that point. Yeah.
But listen, if the Cleveland Indians changed and the Washington Redskins changed,
It's so bad.
the St. John's Redmen turned themselves into the Red Storm. And
Okay.
a lot of college teams were the first ones that were like jumping on that because obviously you have a lot of culture in colleges that's more pervasive to those sort of actions because that's where it starts. But I think the Chiefs and the Braves within the next 10 years are gonna have to seriously think about changing their name.
I hope so. I hope so.
All right,
But
do a quick transition here. We'll see. Moving on to the next topic. All right, what's next, Sophia?
hey, Lou, have you
What's
watched
up?
Scream?
I have not watched Scream, Sophia. Did you enjoy it?
Well, you should. Yeah,
Right.
no, it's okay. It's not my favorite, but it's pretty good. Oh, wait. If the Redskins change their mascot to Redskin Potato, would that be all right?
Are you saying, or would that be alt-right?
Ooh.
Ooh.
I like that. It would be alt-right.
It would be alt-right. That's
Um,
all.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So, okay, back to Scream. So you haven't watched it, so we can't really dive deep
Mhm.
into it. We should do a spoiler review one day after
Sure.
you watch it.
Okay.
I've been meaning to binge all of them because I just want to see where my ranking is. But yes, the new Scream 5, uh, first Scream film after the great Wes Craven passed away. So it's the first Scream movie that he is not writing or directing.
Mhm.
So I was terrified. I'm a huge Scream fan. Uh, I think that's what I would say sparked my love for horror. And I
You
just
watch it in the
love the
theater?
no the I Scream 1. Oh wait, this one?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
I was like Scream 1. No, I was like a toddler. Um, but yeah, so Scream 1 I would say was like the first one that I just got me into the whole a slashers, but like the fact that it's like a meta slasher who done it. It's great. But yeah, so this was the first one before after Wes Craven passed away, so I was very nervous. Thankfully, and then I got a little more hopeful when I heard that the two directors from what was it called? Um oh man, what is that movie where they play hide and seek? Ready or Not. So the two directors from Ready or Not who directed Ready or Not were taking over. And have you seen Ready or Not?
I believe so.
Okay, it's so fucking good. And the way that they do horror and humor put together,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's
You saw
just it's so good. It's so good. So I got a little bit of hope there, and I gotta say they delivered. They delivered. It was pretty good. The writing was really good. Acting was good. I will say, uh Melissa Barrera, is that the one? That's the girl from In the Heights as well.
Right.
She stars in it. She stars. She is the one,
She's
the
the one
main
that said
character.
that she's the one that said in the Heights that there was plenty of Afro Latino people there, but
Oh
that they
my
were the ones
god,
that were
yes.
most
Yes.
assertive.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me make her more likable for you. Um I want to love her. I want to root for you cuz you're a light-skinned Latina like myself with thick eyebrows, which I enjoy.
Yes.
Um But man, some of those lines were rough. Some of those scenes were rough to watch. And I heard the girl that played her little sister, fucking revelation. Like she was amazing. So I have a few theories of what's gonna happen in the next films because they're gonna do a franchise. So it's gonna be a trilogy. So there's gonna be Scream 6 and Scream 7. And it's really
Really.
hard to talk about this without spoiling stuff because I really want to spoil it.
So don't
Um,
spoil it. Don't spoil it.
I know. Okay, so I will say the kills were great. The
So if you
motive
haven't
was
seen,
good.
that's your recommendation is to go watch Scream.
Yes. But also I want to hear everyone's feedback because like I said, I love Scream. So I'm not the I think I'm the most people are agreeing with me that it was good or great.
Mhm.
Um but there's also a few people that really didn't like it. So you know, you may be one of those. I'm not sure. For me, I went back and forth. There were some things that I fucking hated. It reminded
Do
me of
you
Scream 3.
wish do you wish that you had gone back, because this is something that I ran in with the new Matrix movie, which was
No
that
spoilers. No spoilers.
no, well, I think that
Okay.
I'm not. I mean, come on, I'm a professional, Sophia. Come
Thank you.
on.
Thank you.
Which was that I felt I didn't know whether I should rewatch the previous Matrix movies in order to be just more familiar with the characters, because I was like, so one of the things that I saw was like, hey, do I, and this was like a trending, not a trending topic, but something that was happening um sort of out there, when people were like, hey, I'm about to watch the Matrix movie, do I need to watch all the previous Matrix movies, or do I need to refresh myself? And they're like, no, as long as you remember the main characters from the first one, you should be fine. You don't really have to watch 2, 3, or 4 for you to be like, oh, okay, now I understand it. And from what I understand, this one is also similar to the Matrix in terms of being taking similar steps to the first Scream. Do you
Hmm.
agree that it's similar to the
Um,
first one, or do you think is it like a resetting? Because like the Star Wars movies all had the similar teams from the
like the Force
previous
Awakens.
ones, right? They sort of had similar. It was like almost like a re thing, you know.
Hmm. I would say yes, in the sense that it is the genesis of a new generation for a new trilogy, and you can definitely feel it, but you can't compare it to the original because they do a lot of things differently and they do change it for the new generation. Um, so it's not super comparable, I would say.
Okay.
Um,
Do you
what I
feel that
would
you
Mhm.
feel that that somebody from would benefit from watching the first few again
Yes, yes,
before?
I would say yeah, definitely. Because you go in and yeah, you would probably be pretty lost. I mean, you would like it, but I don't see someone going into Scream 5 as seeing their first Scream experience and being like, "Oh my god, I'm fangirling. Like this is amazing." Um, I would say definitely watch at least the first Scream. And then you can jump to 5 if you want. But yeah, definitely to get some context. Um, and then man, Scream 4 is so underrated. I still think
Hmm.
Scream 4 is one of my favorites. It didn't knock that one off. It's still so my ranking is Scream 1, Scream 4, Scream 2, and then 3 and 5 are at the end, and it's interchangeable depending on my mood, honestly.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so it's not the best of Scream movies, but I think it holds up and it gave me hope for the next two. I do wish that they would have kept going with the concept of Scream 4 because that was originally going to be the reboot. That was originally going to be the cast, the premise, everything for the trilogy. But then I guess it didn't do well in the box office,
Hmm.
so they dropped it. And that was in 2011. And so they dropped it. Wes Craven, I mean, eventually passed away, and they decided to, restart it now. And it's great, but it's a totally different premise. Um, and I wish they would have kept going with the fourth, but the fifth is good enough. I'll take it. It wasn't like I don't hate it, you know?
I will watch it, and we'll discuss it on the next one.
Yeah, I want to know your ranking. Are you a Scream fan?
I was a big f- I was big fan of Scream. Also, Nev Campbell has humongous man hands, and
Hey, I love Nev Campbell. Stop it. I listen. I have a huge lesbian girl crush after seeing her in Wild Things. Are you kidding me?
And after
Yes,
seeing the
Nev
size of those
Campbell.
fingers, yes, absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
Yes, I honestly have never looked at her hands in my life, but
I'm just saying.
hey,
There
she
was
can do
just
whatever
well,
she wants to me with them.
who was it that got shit on for their hands? One of the Kardashians, right?
Really?
Did you hear about that?
No.
What was the one that was supposedly OJ's daughter? Chloe,
Uh,
right?
Chloe, yeah.
Yeah, she's the one that might be.
Aw,
She's the one
don't
that
do my
might be
girl
a.
Chloe like that.
No, okay, well,
I'm
okay.
just kidding.
Give
I
me
haven't seen
give
the
me a
show
second
in
here.
ages.
And I don't know where. Let me see if I can find a good picture here.
Okay.
Okay, here. So Khloe Kardashian did a photo shoot, even though I know nothing about this. But if you see here, these are her
There's
hands.
no way. There's no way. That is photoshopped.
No, look at this is the picture. This is the
There's
picture here.
no way.
There's just a picture of her hands,
That's
and
not
there.
human. No, that is Photoshop. Stop.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Stop. Is
Well,
it?
they were. I don't know. She might have
Okay,
a
okay.
hand.
Those look a little more realistic, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, she got dolled up
How
here
does she
though,
wipe her ass with those nails?
but I don't know. They just look a little pale there, and
They look very, yeah. Those
I
do
don't know.
not look real. That looks
This is,
fucking
and
scary.
then she took a picture like this, but then she was not showing her hands, so there was
She
like a
was like,
theory
no,
that
not my hands.
no, don't show my hands, not
Not,
those, no,
not my hands.
not my hands. So that was the other controversy.
Yeah.
Her hands are
Well, her
shaded.
hands are shaded. Yep.
That could be it. No, what was I gonna say? Well, let me remind everybody. So I have to
Mhm.
do my. She's a shady
She's a
figure.
shady figure.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. I want to remind you guys that the 2 a.m. Burrito podcast is sponsored by Mestizo Coffee. Go to mestizo.coffee, and use the code Big Chief to get 10% off anything. Top shelf Mexican flow, single origin, organic, Latinx, single origin coffee with a story. They got the neon chocolate with the caramel. They got the Route 66. The one that I'm drinking is the 420 in one. They are a proud sponsor of the shop of the show, and they also you can get 10% off not only the coffee, but they also have hoodies. They also have I like this one, Yo No Hablo. They got this one. This is for a little morning hoodie for when you have your coffee with the little Mexican flag there.
Love it.
That's pretty. That's pretty. Hey, um, the homie Big Brown Dad that's been on the show before. For $20 you can get some gourmet shit. I got coffee shame because I had the Keurig, so I drank like the easiest shit that I could fucking ever drink. You pop it in.
Lazy.
But now I grind it up, and then
There
I
you
put it
go.
into a reusable Keurig cup, and that because I still use the Keurig, but they have these reusable where you can put your own ground coffee in there and then hook it up. So that's what I've been drinking,
Mm.
and we actually have two separate coffee sponsors. Our friend Angela has Buy Dogecoin coffee, and you can actually buy this coffee with Dogecoin. Um, and if you look in the back here, I have the little lanyard. If you use the code 2am burrito with them, you get a discount, and you also get the little this one right here, the hodl. This thing comes with it, the Dogecoin gold plated coin that I have behind. So that's something for our listeners, for our viewers, of our sponsors. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure you leave a like or a comment, ask a question. We're with Lufia, the Lufia stream, as I called, talking about this. Yo Climb says she might be an alien, or she might be OJ's daughter.
Yeah.
That's the other popular theory. I did want to
No.
ask you
Hmm.
about bi sitting.
About what?
Bi
Bi-sitting?
sitting. Bi sitting.
Oh yeah. Okay. Like bisexuals sit weird.
Bi
Yeah.
sitting. Okay. Is bi sitting a thing?
Probably, yeah. I would call it more queer sitting. I would just say that, like, yeah, we just feel more empowered. We can open our fucking legs, do the male. We do the male spread. You know what's that called? The fucking
The man spread. The
the
man
man
spread.
spread. Yes, the fucking yeah. Why not? For sure.
So it is a thing. Bi sitting is a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing. I
Okay.
don't know. I'm gonna have to get some more anecdotal data on straight girls and see how they sit, but I do it, so.
All right. Yeah. Other thing here. Now that we were talking about Hollywood, here's another story I thought interesting. A fan sued Disney, I believe, or
Mhm.
what happened is Anna de Armas, or the woman who I would push Daisy out of a moving car if she was standing at a bus stop for.
Daisy, get your mans. Come get your mans.
No, she
So
understands.
papo.
I wouldn't. I would probably just have her sit in the back. But Anna de Armas, my crush, was supposed to be in. She was in an early cut of the trailer for the movie. Parker says bisexuals are culturally approaching mind spreading.
Exactly.
That's what happened. That's what's happening.
And men are quaking. Men are angry.
They're scared of what they're gonna find.
You're
So anyway,
appropriating
she
it.
was in the trailer for a movie called Yesterday. Did you watch that movie? It was pretty cool. It was about a guy who was a big Beatles fans, and then he is in like an accident, or he wakes up the next morning and nobody remembers the Beatles. So he
Mhm.
begins like saying, "Okay, Let It Be," and all these other songs, and they think they're the most brilliant things because nobody's ever heard of the
Oh,
Beatles. So
I
he
saw the
rewrites.
trailer.
Yeah. So apparently, Anna de Armas was supposed to be his love interest in the trailer. Then, when audiences watched the movie, they thought that she was playing the second love interest. Basically, he becomes famous, and she's like a famous actress, so he starts sort of a second relationship with her. And audiences thought that it made him less likable, that he was going to go cheat on his
Mhm.
girlfriend with this Anna de Armas. Although, who would fucking blame him, right?
Mhm.
So they cut her out of the movie. They go see the movie thinking that she was in the movie. And my comment on this was, I too am mad when Anna de Armas is not in a movie.
Shut up.
So they sued because they say the deception, the defendant's nationwide advertising and promotion of the movie Yesterday represents to a prospective movie viewers that the world famous actress Anna de Armas has a substantial character role in the film. The defendant's movie Yesterday, however, fails to include any appearance of Anna
Mhm.
de Armas whatsoever. So they are suing the studio for that. Your thoughts?
So they used her in the trailer and then they cut her off from the movie.
She was in the movie. She was a love interest of the main character. When they
Okay.
screened it for test audiences, they didn't like her, or they
So
didn't
they took
like
her
that,
out,
so they cut her completely out of the movie.
but
The
they're still
movie gets
using her in the trailer.
the movie gets released, and
Mhm.
she's there. Like let's say you went to go see Spider-Man and Zenyatta wasn't there. Zendaya
Zenyatta?
was Zenyatta,
Okay.
whatever. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I got her mixed with that old Idol contestant, Zendaya, right? And she's not in the movie, right? Or you go see Dune, and they cut her out of the movie completely,
But
but
she's still in the trailer, is what
she
I'm
was all over
saying.
the trailer, right? So is that
So
enough of a reason to
they're
be able
using
to?
her for yeah, 100%. Because if you're being used for publicity and that you're and I mean she's not unknown, right? So at least a good gaggle of people are gonna go watch it to see her. Yeah,
You,
no,
you can
I
you
would
can
too.
you
I
can
think
jump into that. You can jump on that class action lawsuit.
hell yeah. She should yeah, get your coin, girl. Yes, they're using you for publicity.
No,
You ain't
no,
even in the movie.
she's not suing.
Oh, who's suing? The
A
viewers?
couple of dudes that went to watch the movie.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Hold on.
Picture me, but I go watch Yesterday because I'm super in love with Ana de Armas,
No.
because I am.
Wait, that changes everything. Hold
And
on.
I watch the movie and I'm like, where the fuck is Ana de Armas?
That changes everything. Wait, does it though? Or
She wasn't
does
suing it.
it?
This wasn't like a Black Widow thing where she sued because the movie wasn't released in
Should we
theaters.
join this lawsuit? Oh my God, we should
Like I
totally
said,
join.
I too am mad when Ana de Armas is not in. She should be in every
Mhm.
movie, as far as I'm
Get your
concerned.
coin, Lou. Get your coin.
And so, but I
Listen,
mean, but
honestly though, I think I'm gonna side with the dudes because same. I would feel lied to. It's America. We sue everybody.
now we're gonna get getting trailer not representative final film disclaimers on trailers. Yeah, I mean,
Ooh, yeah.
trailers have gone to shit.
Oh,
Trailers have gone to
agreed. They
shit.
give you the whole movie. It spoils the whole fucking movie most
Trailers
of the
have gone to
time.
shit. Well, anyway,
Mhm.
so like I said, there's a
Agreed.
class action lawsuit right now. A
Make trailers great again.
couple of dudes got mad because Anna de Armas was in the trailer for yesterday, but
That's
she didn't
great.
come out in the movie.
They're my
So,
idols.
right,
It's
and we
fucking
found
great.
out that by sitting is a thing. You know what else is a
Confirmed.
thing?
What?
Corgi racing.
A little bit about the name because I know it has a specific scientific reason.
Yeah, tubulin is involved in mitosis, and since it's a essential protein, we thought we had to give him a essential name. So,
Oh, I love it. Tell me, what does tubulin
Yay!
like to do for fun?
eat balls.
Did you guys have any special training regimen for him?
He eats
We
balls.
sprint
Eats
Tuesdays
balls.
and Thursdays.
Final race?
Yeah.
Good. Well, good luck to tubulin and number 5. Back to you, Tom.
Oh my
All right,
god,
thank you.
yes!
Congratulations to
Look at
Tubulin
them actually racing their little
and his
hearts
amazing
out.
handlers.
Oh,
The third heat is
God.
upon us.
All right. So here's
Good.
the third race. All right, who you picking here? All right, we got Solo, we got Peyton, we got Frankie, we got Echo, we got Juicy,
Mr.
Riggins,
Wigglebutt.
Mr. Bean, Sir Wigglebutt, Foxy,
Him.
Roxy, Toast, and Finn. All right, pick your corgi.
Mr. Beans or Wigglebutt?
Mr. Bean, Sir Wigglebutt. I'm gonna go
Yeah, who are you
with
choosing?
Juicy,
Okay.
like the Biggie
And
song.
here they are.
Wait, you probably already watched it.
They have
I have not.
arrived
Right where I stopped at.
and begin to take position a dozen corgis.
All right, hold on.
And after this one, we're all ready for trials. Then we'll have 3
So-
more heats.
So this is where they set up.
Mm-hmm.
You got the one handler on one side, you got the other handler on the other side, right?
A little
Okay.
bit later on, the top 2 finishers will advance.
Lower the
to
volume a little bit in case
championship.
YouTube starts to trip.
Here we go. The flag.
Here they go.
And
Okay.
corgis away.
Which one's mine? What number?
Here goes
I like these back here. I like
Oh my
this is like
God.
my favorite. Like these are the favorites, or like these are just like
That guy went
what?
sideways. He
Whoa,
fell
whoa,
on
whoa,
it.
whoa, whoa.
He's like,
Ah!
oh my god, yes.
Who won?
Who won? It's so hard to keep track.
They all look the same. Look at,
Roxy. They do. Oh, what a good girl. Yes,
and then
Foxy
they get it.
Roxy.
They get a puppuccino. Is that Foxy Roxy? Foxy Roxy took it.
Foxy Roxy took it. We both lost.
Oh,
Look
you
at that.
guys, what a race
Wow.
that
And
was.
then look. This is the part. Look at all these fucking people
My
in the
God.
stand.
Oh, that's
Look
a lot
at
of
these.
people.
Why
Fuck.
are there so many people
Where does
there?
this take place? This is awesome. I gotta
That-
tell my corgi owning friend about this. She needs to put her dogs in there.
This is 58,000 views too. There's a 2021. This is
insane.
this is funny here. I saw this earlier. Like this part. This guy like ran off the track. See, one of them just like went out that way. Just was like, I'm out of here. Fuck this.
I recently saw a dog race. I think it was on Instagram, but like it was a total fail. Like the dogs just like started playing. They went back. They like it was so cute though. I'll do you
So,
one better though. Google the duck beauty pageant.
No.
Please do.
Okay, I'll do it in a second.
In
But
Sydney.
Corgi races. Now, does that make you want to add a 4th dog?
God no. I'm good. I also love short-haired dogs. Corgis have like, and I don't like small paws. Because then they end up having leg issues and all kinds of issues. Yeah.
Okay.
They don't have
So something else that popped up is the Luisa character from Encanto. Did you get a chance to watch that?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Super good. Cried.
So this is something that popped up in my feed. The artist for Encanto had to really fight Disney to let Luisa have big muscles. Because we can't pretend Disney isn't superficial and misogynistic anyway. Jokes on them, because little girls have gravitated to this buff as fuck character, and they were not prepared for the amount of demand Luisa merch when they made a bunch of Isabel merch that isn't selling as well.
Ooh. Love
So,
it.
well, my brother still to this day, when he's giving me shit, will call me like Maria Luisa. Like
Hmm.
that's Luis. When they wanted to give me like a
Oh yeah,
girly
that's
name,
true. Yeah,
they
yeah.
would call me Luisa. So my question is, should I cosplay this?
Oh fuck yeah. Oh my god, yes.
Hmm.
But listen, let's be honest. Then
I
you
can
need
get,
to grow
I
your
can,
muscles more. You're not that
I,
muscly.
I can do the man bun. I can get the man bun going. The
You need
kind of I
to
can
you need
probably
to come on, get some gains.
the closest thing I could do is the hair, and then the dress would be easy, but I'd have to work out a little bit more to be able to do the Luisa cosplay. But I do think it's
There you
awesome
go.
that they didn't think the character that the character would be this popular, which is hilarious to me.
Mhm. That is so
Now,
crazy, but like it's refreshing. I like it.
I did want to ask you, because that's one of the things, the reason that I asked you to watch that is, I did see some. Uh, I am gonna gender appropriate the fuck out of that cosplay when I do it. Yeah,
That's in
absolutely.
gender appropriation. We're just
Um,
appropriating everything right now. Damn.
the appropriators. I can add that to the
That should be our podcast name. That's part of the
podcast.
list. The
Um,
appropriators.
I did. So one of the things that I did see that I
Hmm.
wanted to bring up as well is the difference between Encanto,
Hmm.
as a sort of Colombian, what is that called, a parabel, or like, it's not like an allegory, it's just like a fable or a tale,
Hmm.
um, very similar to Coco, but Coco, I believe, did a much better job of representing the Mexican culture than Encanto did of representing Colombian culture.
Hmm.
Now, as a Colombian, a lot of the imagery, a lot of the idioms, a lot of it rang true. And seeing, light skinned, dark skinned Colombian kids and a family that's really mixed, really did make me feel good, happy, swell up with emotions at time when I was watching the film. Um,
Hmm.
and the fact that it is so, your girl, who's in the
Hmm.
middle of every controversy, right? Stephanie, right?
What? Oh
Stephanie,
yeah. Yes.
she
Did she get
plays
into
she played
something?
well, she played the lead character, and
She
well,
did.
she's
Yeah.
not Colombian, obviously, which John Leguizamo, I think, is the only main cast member that is Colombian.
Mm.
Lin Manuel Miranda, Puerto Rican. So there was no, I wasn't part of the direction or production team. I would have
You didn't
loved
get
to
a
have been
call.
that. I didn't get a
Hmm.
call. There was no, basically the production team, writing team, was all the major positions were like probably 90% non-Colombian, right? They had some
Hmm.
voice talent there. So
Yeah, because I was gonna say
I
Sebastián Yatra and Carlos Vives are Colombian, right?
yeah, and then some of the
But then
music
that's
and
like
stuff like
also the
that.
music.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
music and a lot of stuff, and I love the music and I loved all of it. But there was that feeling that this wasn't as specific a Colombian story. It felt more like a Latinx sort of generic, any country from Latin America that was close to mountains, and this could have been very
Hmm.
easily a story that was told about them, right? It felt like it was missing that last step that I felt Coco had, because I think Dia de los Muertos and all these, the music and all these things, I felt like, I think I and I'm a guy who gets really affected by movies and stuff like that. I'm an emotional person. So
Hmm.
I get affected by films, and a lot of movies make me like tear up or well up and stuff like that. Just when a real human experience is presented as a moment, that always gets me. So I think I felt more emotion watching Coco. That was a Mexican movie, or a
Hmm.
Mexican sort of story, than I did watching Encanto. The Encanto stuff was because, the colors and the visuals and some of the
Hmm.
phrases and terms, but it all felt superficial. It all felt like a team that was 90% not Colombian painting a Colombian picture.
Yeah.
I felt like they got the outside, the colors right, but they didn't get like the whole meaning of it. I didn't feel that it was anything that affected the. I saw some people saying Lin-Manuel Miranda's creating, more pain for the like. I didn't feel any of that. I didn't feel like I felt
Yikes.
everything about it was
Yikes.
positive,
Hmm.
right? I
Right.
felt maybe sort of how people felt about In the Heights, which was like it's positive that it's a story. It
Hmm.
just didn't feel like there was enough of the representation or enough deep into it for me. So I love
Yeah.
that. I love that girls get to curly haired girls get to see themselves, and dark skinned kids get to see themselves on screen, and muscle bound women get to see. I love all that. I love all those things.
Hmm.
But I felt that Coco did a much better job of really touching the beats of the Mexican
The culture.
culture
Yes.
more than, and it also got the outside and the references and the music and the visuals. It got all that right, and it also dove deeper into the actual culture. And so after watching Encanto, what did you think of the movie? And do you sort of and obviously as somebody that's looking at it from the outside in, how did you feel about it?
Exactly. So I do want to emphasize that I'm looking at it from the outside in. So yeah, when you sent me the topic of comparing the two and representation, um, yeah, I think I had to agree. I tried to do some more research and I found something about magical realism and Gabriel Garcia Marquez and how that's very like, the Colombian novelist and that's very much ingrained in the part of the culture and stuff like that. But that's sort of also maybe reaching because that's something that like maybe the layman Colombian person would. You don't have to know Gabriel Garcia Marquez to like feel like connected to the movie, right? So it's one of those things where anyone that is Colombian should watch this movie and feel a connection to it, the way that Mexicans did with Coco. Um, so I agree with you. I think that the movie itself is great, and I agree that it was in the heights, sort of like it did a great job because I feel those same feelings where I'm like I felt seen, I felt represented, not because someone looked like me, but because there's an argument that maybe Isabella was gay, and then yeah, like the pressure of caring with your family and the topic of generational trauma, which was also the main theme in Coco. Um, so there was a lot of themes and topics that I definitely uh saw myself in and in my experience when it comes to the character of Colombia within the movie and the cultural representation. I had to Google where it's from. I watched the movie and there was nothing that I until they said arepas, I was kind of like, I had to Google it. I was like, Encanto set in where? Because I didn't know if it was a magical land or if it was an actual place or
Right.
what was happening. And then I was like, why are there horses? And then I was like, what year is this? What place is this? And I had to Google the Hundred Years War or some war that happened in Colombia. Like I didn't know, and I think that means something, right? That means that they didn't fully do a good job because it should be obvious. It should be in our faces.
Mm.
Um, and I do think that when it comes to the topic of representation for the culture, Coco did just a marvelous, marvelous job. Um,
I felt
with
like
like the
I felt
visuals
like
and
I
everything.
learned I felt like I learned a lot about Mexican culture through Coco.
And that's how
I
I
felt
wanted to feel with Encanto too, because didn't. I didn't learn anything about Colombian culture. I learned a lot about communication, like family, the same themes that we saw in Coco, in a different, with a different, I guess POV for this one. But it was a lot of the same themes. When it comes to the culture, I don't feel like I learned much, unless I really went out of my way to research it.
yeah, I felt yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Like I said, I think I felt about Encanto the same way a lot of people felt about In the Heights, which was
Mhm.
happy that it got made, happy that it dealt with the thing, didn't nail it, didn't quite nail it, and I think it has to do with the writing team and the directing team not being as familiar with Colombian culture as they should have been, or being Colombian. another instance. Like I said, in the Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda's a New Yorker. He wrote this great musical. They got the guy who directed Crazy Rich Asians. Maybe that's the only way they could get enough money to fund the movie. So all these things that we talk about when it comes to Hollywood comes down to whether or not the decision that they make is going to make them or cost them money. So whether that comes down to casting, whether that comes to some of the things that John Leguizamo was saying recently, where he said he tried to stay out of the sun because of colorism, because he was afraid that if he spent too much time at the beach and got too dark, that he would stop getting parts that he was getting. So all of these things come down to money when it comes to studios, when it comes to film. They're not gonna cast somebody. They're gonna cast Bryan Cranston as a paraplegic because they want the movie to get made. And some of these things are decisions that filmmakers have to make, where it's like, well, we'll make your money we'll give you $20 million to make this movie, but here's the stipulations and here's what we want, because we want to have a better chance of recouping our money. And then sometimes when it's just a big property, they go the other way and they say, well, we don't want to get canceled or stuff like that, so we're going to be super careful with all these decisions about casting and stuff like that. It's a crazy time for making movies.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so crazy when something does get made.
I know, right? And yeah, I actually didn't know that it was like 90% non-Colombian. That part I was like surprised when you said it. I'm like, that seems like the easiest choice to make. Like the most obvious choice to make, right? Is to make your writer's room and your director and all this mainly Colombian. Like, I don't know. Is it that hard to find Colombian filmmakers? I don't know.
Nope. It's so hard to, I mean, it's not like we're out there. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not like you could go to somebody's profile and then just have like,
Oh, shut up. Okay.
it's not like they would be like, hey, I can't find any Colombian filmmakers to bring
Like,
into this.
look at my Twitter page.
Look, it's the flags right there. It
The
says
Colombian flag right there. What do you mean?
the Colombian flag that you're going to find in the burrito. What
The
else?
burrito
What else?
section.
What else do you need to know?
Yeah.
I did want to knock out a couple of. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, all in all, though, Encanto was great. Though, what did you think about the like topics and all of that? Like, did you think that it could have the same themes of a family within a house and all of that, while also doing better with representation?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, my biggest concern, the biggest take that because I heard some stuff about it and then I was like, well, I want to watch it, and then I finally got the first couple of times I was like, well, we have a kid running around, so it's a perfect perfect excuse to just watch kids movies, which I'm now. I could do a whole line of videos of me just critiquing like Kung Fu Panda and Toy Story and just like plot holes and
It's gonna
stuff,
be kid movies every week, isn't it?
because I saw them, because I've seen these movies, like I've seen Luca like 100 times,
I
which is
haven't seen it.
Luca is probably the best animated movie that I've seen other than Coco over the last 5 years. Luca is
That's high
excellent.
praise.
Luca, yes, Luca is fucking excellent. I highly recommend Luca. It is better than Encanto. Now Encanto's a musical, and even though I grew up around musicals and I grew up performing in musicals and going to musicals and stuff like that, I have to be in the right frame of mind for a musical. So the songs and the popularity of the songs are not a selling point for me for a movie. I thought the musical stuff from Coco was better, and and the music in Encanto, when it was just music playing over a radio or in between scenes, was the music that I really enjoyed. All the, because I love all all the thank you, Vani Gomez.
Luca over
Hey,
Encanto. Hey, well, damn, now I have to watch
exactly.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. One of your friends coming in with a hot take.
Hot take.
But yeah, so I do feel that so the songs for Encanto weren't like like I know that we don't talk about Bruno's like the #1 streamed Disney song now.
That's a great song.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
but those songs didn't matter to me. It was more about the story, and maybe I was looking for more Colombian story. Like I said, it felt like you could have
What
said
about the
this takes
Oruita
this.
one?
Yeah, you could have told me this takes place in Peru or Chile or Paraguay or Brazil or Venezuela and or Bolivia, and I would have said sure.
I
Um,
completely agree because I was unsure. I was like, oh, it's definitely South America. I just don't know where.
yeah, it was just like I said. I'm glad that it's there. I'm glad that there's Colombian kids that get to see themselves on screen. That is incredible to me.
Yeah.
That kids get to see themselves and represent it because it helps. It definitely
Mhm.
fucking helps. So I think it went there. So my final thought is it's great. I'm ecstatic that they do it. I'm ecstatic that they chose our culture and it wasn't a narco story.
Mhm.
And I think the deeper themes of the complexities of family and
Yeah.
family dynamics and like you said long-term trauma and
Mhm. Yeah,
were
because
great.
from a
They were well
psychological
they were done.
standpoint, I mean, I loved it. It was well done.
Yeah.
But you're right about the culture part. I think they slept on it. That's for sure. So
But then they start rapping and rhyming and I'm just like, all right,
it
come
was
on,
very
get it.
Lynn. I felt Lynn a lot. It was very in the Heightsy. It was
Yeah, it was very yeah, it
you
was
could tell
the sing song hip hop aesthetic is not
rapping
my
all of a
thing.
sudden.
Not it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
my thing that I'm not a Hamilton guy, you know. I'm just I know it. I understand how difficult it is that you can freestyle Lin Manuel, but I don't know. I thought the story could have had I thought the story could have been a little bit stronger, more indicative of
Mhm.
the culture.
I
The
agree with
music
you.
was
The
funny sense of
music
music.
was thick as fuck though. I agree. I agree. I mean, I
I
liked it,
I like the
but I don't
Luisa.
know. Some songs on it. I like yeah, the Luisa and the Bruno one I liked.
Yeah,
Those are
that's
mine.
everybody loves. I love John Leguizamo. So all right.
You do.
Let's see. I no, those were all the topics that I had. I know you might have another one. What was the last one? What was the other one you had?
Yeah, well, I listen, it's a little too lengthy for how far into the pod we are, so I think I'm gonna leave it for next week because
Okay. What
it's
was
a,
it though?
it's a, it was Ukraine versus Russia, so it's gonna be political again, and then very long-winded. So
One
next
po- one
week,
one political thing. I will say that the most
one
interesting
political
part of
per
the
pod.
yeah, I will say that the most interesting part of that is that the people in the Ukraine are not freaking out. It's the people outside of it's us and NATO that's the one that's freaking out. And
Leave it for next week,
yeah,
sir.
we'll leave it. We'll leave it. I just want to tell you that I do have a take on it. All right. All
No,
right.
I love it.
So
Leave it for next
let's
week.
let's move on to Am I the Asshole and our No Mama's Way segment, okay?
Hmm.
You ready?
Yeah.
Well, we need a quick
Which one are we doing
dramatic.
first? No names?
I thought we do Am I the Asshole real quick.
Okay, you got a good one.
Yeah, I got a good one. All right.
Okay.
All right. This one is says, Am I the asshole for refusing to give my unborn son my husband's last name?
Ooh, we getting juicy. Okay.
All right. Hello. I, female 26, have been married to my husband, male 31, for 3 years, and we're expecting a baby boy together. When I married my husband, I kept my maiden name, which he was perfectly okay with. We already
Mhm.
discussed this and agreed that any future kids we will automatically take his last name. His family considers this huge deal, and I decided to go with it. But recently, I started thinking a lot more about it and figured that it would be unfair for my unborn son to take my husband's family name and not mine.
Mm.
I talked to my family and they said my husband and in laws are ridiculous to push this on me without a compromise, expecting I to go with it. So I went home and told my husband that I've changed my mind about the last name thing and want either have both our last names combined or my last name to be given to our son. He was confused, saying we had an agreement. Right here it says we had an agreement.
Mhm.
And then asked what was the cause of this sudden change in mind. I told him I said I can't do it and call me selfish. I'm the mother, I get a say too. We went back and forth, and he said, no way, and his family will let me do this to his son, as if my last name is a disgrace. We had a fight, and we stopped talking after this. He said that I broke and violated part of the deal, and I should just deal with it now, but I won't accept it. Am I the
The
asshole?
asshole. Listen, okay. The girl from Spy Kids did it correctly. Her and her husband just put the two names together and no issues like this arose, you know? Peña
That's the
Vegas.
that's the main thing, which is like my name. I can go back like 8 last names. I can go like
Yeah.
Martinez, Salazar, Tangarife, like
Tangarife, that was a new one.
yeah.
I like
So
it.
I have a bunch of last names,
Mhm.
and I mean, it's not like just. I mean, if it's Smith Johnson, and they're like, well, all the kids in our family have always been
Swanson.
named Johnson, even if it's the mother side. And well, it's like, well, you
Mhm.
said that we could call him Smith because you're keeping the last name. So I don't think it's.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. For me, I'm a little split just because she made an agreement to begin with. Like I'm on her side in that if she feels strongly and she wants the child to either be a hyphen because she is, compromising to like, hey, let's give them both the last names, or hers. But she's compromising to both. Uh, I will say the only thing that doesn't sit right with me is that there was an agreement to begin with and then she changed her mind. Now, I'm not saying that you can't change your mind ever, but he entered this relationship with that agreement in mind, right? So that's a
Right.
little I don't know. I don't think she's the asshole.
And he already
Uh
compromised by letting her by agreeing that she can keep her
she
name.
could keep her name, right? But even yeah, so but there's also I think that's a little easier than not passing down your name to like your progeny, because I feel like men feel very much like, hey, I'm passing down my name. Whereas with the wife, you can kind of let go, like, hey, we don't do the property thing anymore. So you can kind of let it go a little bit. I think it's easier emotionally, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? I don't think she's an asshole.
I think the part that I saw people commenting on was that she went back to her family to discuss it, and then she was like,
Mm.
"Yeah, yeah, what right does he have?" So I think that it's
Como
too
que la
much.
enchilaron, like they were hyping her up.
Yeah, that's too much
Yeah.
input from outside sources for me. I think that this is something that should be between them, and she should
Yeah.
say, well, I understand this is what we've done in our family, but I made an agreement with my husband that since I am
Mhm.
keeping my last name, our children will have his last name.
I will say though, devil's advocate, his family is also a big part of his choice to want to pass down the name. He keeps saying, "My family, this." They'll never allow it. So it seems like the families are just metichas on both sides here.
I think it's just just give them two last names, Johnson
Yeah,
Smith
just
or John.
hyphen
It don't fucking matter.
Smonson,
That doesn't
or like
matter.
the Peña Vegas, just put them together. Whatever, make a whole last name. Why not?
All right, here's another interesting one that that as found on Reddit trashy here. My ex
Okay.
and me and my ex wanted to see who cheated more, so we wrote down everything. So we wrote down everyone we
No,
cheated with. I'm on the right side. She's on the
she's
left.
on the left. This is a lie. This cannot
This
be
is
true.
this
Jorge,
falls
Brian, Andy.
this
No
falls
way.
under the don't ask questions you don't want to hear the answer to. First of all, she has a guy that she doesn't even know his name. She just knows his at Jersey Arab.
Love it.
So
I'm
she doesn't
looking him
even
up right fucking now.
she doesn't know who he is.
Looking
Benji
his ass up.
Ustad Mustafa. She fucking work at a gyro shop for the summer.
I love how
Uh
ethnically inclusive she is. This is
James
great.
Eli Hunter,
What is a Jersey Arab?
just teacher.
Oh
Um,
man, he doesn't exist. What the hell? This is a lie.
Kaylee's boyfriend.
Jersey Arab
She did Kaylee
and
and
Kaylee's
Kaylee's boy.
boyfriend. Oh my god, Panda.
Panda, Five Guys. That's where it gets a little
This is
crazy.
a lie. This is like too
Andrew
much. This
Miles,
would never happen.
Cecilia,
No, I'm
Brian,
calling
Andy.
bullshit on this one.
And then
Calling
on the
bullshit on
right,
this one.
Rose, Kira, Emmy, Steph, Leah, Jenna, Polina, Cielo, Dira.
First
And I
of
think
all, both of them
that
get a lot of,
Emmy's
they
on
get a
both
lot of
lists.
traffic.
Emmy's on both sides.
This is such a lie. There's no way this is real. No way.
I mean, she cheated on him with like 25 people,
Yeah.
and he cheated on her with 10.
It seems like they're both cheaters. He just gets less people.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, probably a fake.
Story. Yeah, probably.
Probably a fake. Probably clout chasing here on the internet.
Hmm.
And I do want to remind everybody that the San Diego Latino Film Festival will be live and in person, and also have a hybrid option. March 10th through the
Ooh.
20th. And we'll be making an announcement possibly in the next couple of days. I think on February 11th is when the embargo list, as I am curating 2 full comedy showcases. And also a feature showcase of Latinx comedies. So I'm going to have information for that for everybody so that we can all go to the festival. There's also going to be Sabor Latino this year. It's going to be at Mission Valley, not Fashion Valley this year.
Delicious.
There's going to be virtual as well as live screenings, following whatever guidelines are happening at the moment. And yeah, so one way or another, you guys are going to be able to watch some movies, and I'll be able to, and I'm going to be obviously going to be doing giveaways for passes and stuff like that leading up to the festival as well. All right, now it's time for us to look at our submissions for our No Names Way section.
No Names Way.
He's on the screen in case anybody has any identifying sort of things in the thing. All right, are you ready here?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here is the responses and questions that we got. All right, hold on a second. What's that?
Tell us your problems.
Tell us
Anonymous.
our problems anonymously. All right, here's my
I'm
first
gonna have
question.
an advice column. Okay. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Some of these are this is the first week, so people are just putting some goofy ones in there. Let's see what we got.
Okay.
Should I marry my second cousin? I mean, it worked for Rudy
Why
Giuliani.
not? Yeah. Go for it.
How far is far enough down the cousin aisle? Like obviously first cousin is a tough sell.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a tough sell.
A mutual friend, a friend of a friend of a friend's, married his first cousin.
First cousin. Is it?
Oh no!
Didn't Giuliani marry his first cousin too?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I don't know how far is
Giuliani
I'll say
married one of
fourth.
his cousins.
I'll say fourth cousin is fine.
Yeah.
Twice removed. I don't know what the removes are. I don't know. Because I'm on 23andMe, and I'll get random fourth cousins in different countries and stuff, and I'm like, wow, we look nothing alike. If I would, to me,
I'd bang.
I wouldn't know we were related, and I'd bang. And your last name is something totally different. Fluffenlagel in Germany is my fourth cousin.
Are you checking for people before you decide to like date them to make sure that they're
No,
at least
but now I'm traumatized that I should, because guess how many fourth cousins I have in the area? Too many, Lou. And 23andMe is telling me who I cannot bang because they're a fourth cousin twice removed. And I was like, damn, that guy was kind of cute. Damn.
Is Lady Boner blocking?
It really is. And I'm just looking at how attractive all my cousins are all over the place. And I'm like, man, that's my fourth cousin, though.
All right,
Is fourth cousins okay?
No. And let's see. Next question we have is Hitler the musical. Good idea or bad idea? I mean, if Lin-Manuel Miranda's writing it, how could you go wrong?
Then it can't go wrong. This is a good point. Just give it to Lin. He'll know how to do it.
He got Grubbles if he can rap in and stuff. I don't know. I'm sorry. You can't even joke.
The way he did The King, that was great. So hey, he might do a great song for Hitler.
Lin-Manuel Miranda presents
In the Bunker. I don't know.
He dazzled us in the heights.
Then Hamilton.
You sang along to Encanto. Now, only one man can take on the topic of the rise of Hitler. I mean, they did. I mean, Springtime for Hitler. And then that was a thing. And then that's inside of another movie. And then the guy who directed Thor, the New Zealander guy, Takiti. He did that movie with where there was like a comedic version of Hitler that some people had I'm such a fucking dad now with movie residents. Black Widow was in it. Scarlett Johansson was in it.
Scarlett Johansson, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
And then Hitler was the kid's imaginary friend. His imaginary friend was
Oh, yes.
somebody remind me what that movie was.
I forgot.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like the topic of Hitler is hands off, but would a musical work? I doubt it. I mean, they did a movie about, they've done musicals about a lot of crazy shit though.
Not
So
unless it was a parody musical, it wouldn't work out. I don't think so.
it would have to be it would have to be like in a South Park episode.
Yeah,
Every, I,
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it would have to be some parody type of yeah.
okay.
Next
Next question.
question.
Where's the beach?
What? There's so
West.
many.
If you're in San Diego, west.
West.
You go west or east until you hit the water. You'll find it.
Dude, that's a Snooki reference from
From
Jersey Shore. Where's the beach? I want to get that drunk. So
How
bad.
I Met Your Mother or Friends? Because these are the important questions. Now I have a take on Friends.
Oh, that's hard. They're not comparable, is what I always say. They are very different. If I had to choose, twist my arm, gun to my head, How I Met Your Mother. I'm sorry. Sorry, friends. Sorry, Vonnie. It's How I Met Your
I would
Mother. Yeah.
I would pick How I Met Your Mother only because I've never watched an episode of How I Met Your Mother, and I've watched every episode of Friends, and
So you wouldn't pick it?
Friends fucking sucks.
Oh, shots fired.
Like I
You're
was
gonna piss
there.
off our
I was
viewers
there. I was there. I was there. Must see
during the
TV
time.
Thursday nights.
Mhm.
Friends. They would play "I'll Be There for You" on the radio.
For you.
They played it on the radio, like as a song. It was very, very popular.
You
But
have friends fatigue.
Friends, it was more of a cultural thing than. But then living single was already a thing, and they're on the Upper West Side of New York, and there's nothing but white people around them. It's so bad. It's
Yeah.
so mediocre. It was just the Joey character. It was peak '90s.
Humor. Yeah, it's great.
It was.
But that's what makes it great. It's just that's what makes I Met Your Mother. It's the fact that Friends is just it's peak '90s humor. I'm watching Friends right now. Bonnie loves Friends. I feel attacked.
Sorry.
I told you you're gonna piss off our viewers.
We were getting along so well, Bonnie, before
know.
from your previous take.
Yeah.
Now I
So
went and shit on Friends.
shit on her. Yeah, she's like a Friends super fan. So
There's Friends had its.
it is
I just
peak
feel
90s
like
humor though. It's How I Met Your Mother. I love it. It's great. I don't know what to say. It's amazing.
should I watch How I Met Your Mother?
I would say it's worth the watch. Yes, for sure. And then now
I-
they came out with How I Met Your Father, and guess what? That shit slaps as well. How I Met Your Father. It's getting me. I didn't want to like it. I mean, I didn't want to like it. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I fucking love it.
So one of them has to go. Which one are you eliminating? How I Met Your Mother or Friends?
Oh, Friends. I'll keep How I Met Your Mother.
And I think because I've already seen Friends and I saw every single episode when it came out, and
Yeah.
I was around people, and I think I might have even recorded that single and because it was a hot song back in '90 whatever the fuck when it came out.
Yeah.
Um,
I will say though, the thing is, you can't have How I Met Your Mother without Friends. And the reason why How I Met Your Mother is better is because they were able to see, Friends, get inspiration from there, and then just better it. For the early 2000s to late 2000s to 2010s. So it was also like a generational shift. And I just think that they just did it so fucking well. It's so good. And then How I Met Your Father now is doing it for the 2020s and shifting it generationally as well, and they're doing it fucking amazingly too. I hope it keeps going because the topics now are different than in 2010 and in 2002 and way different than in the 90s. So Friends is a little outdated.
yeah, I get. Honestly, because I've already seen Friends, I'd say they can go. But I can
Yeah, they can go.
understand. I can
They can go.
understand people liked
They
it.
watch, the others can run, but they can go.
Yeah. All right, I'm sorry, but yeah, but Friends. All right, next
Mhm.
question here. I was going to show you a picture. Did I share that with people of the
Okay, sure.
of what I looked like while I was watching Friends? Is a picture.
Yes,
I
I saw that. Wait, the one with oh my god, the one with your shirt open or which one?
Yeah, my Papi Chulo picture.
Ay, pendejo. Oh my
That was
god.
that was the me that watched Friends. In case. All right. What's the goal here? The goal here is to answer your questions anonymously, like an advice column, and for me
Mm-hmm.
and Sophia to riff on it. How many people do you have to sleep with to be considered a hoe, and how come when it's men it doesn't matter mostly?
That's a
Um,
good one.
there was that whole controversy recently about the Fit and Fresh podcast, where they were basically the two African dudes that are just like they're just spewing every misogynistic sort of fantasy, like the whole, oh, if
Mm-hmm.
one key opens every lock, it's a master lock, but
But
if a lock gets opened by every key,
then it's a shit lock.
then it's a shit lock. And
Are
like,
you a piece
hey,
of chewed gum, ladies? Yeah, this
I
is very.
so I think, I mean, I have evolved in my thoughts. Obviously,
Mhm.
I've said before, I used to have more misogynistic, sexist sort of ideologically growing up in a
Mhm.
Latino family, being told I was a prince from the age of
Mhm.
2, and I had to
Yeah.
wash that shit out of myself. So I think I've come to a place where I don't want to slut shame or do anything like that. So I
Mhm.
hopefully it's moving more towards equally. But I would say if you start hitting like triple digits, you might want to.
I want to slut up. Uh,
If you're going past,
I have a friend who's in the triple digits, and I was like, "That's a lot. You went ham in college. That's how many per week
that's,
for
I
a
mean,
year. It's a lot.
what's, I mean,
I'm too tired."
if you're hitting like 20s on multiple consecutive years, then you're
Yeah.
probably like, I mean, for your health, you might want to
Yeah.
slow down a little bit, just in general,
Yeah, I
like.
will say the concept of hoe, that's so first we have to break down what the concept of hoe is. First of all, what even is a hoe or a slut? Whose perception are we using to define this term? Because everyone's going to have sadly a different definition. Like you said, some very like machista men might be like, "Oh, you have to be a virgin because I only fuck like whatever." Um but as by and large, I don't think the term hoe exists. I don't think so. I think that sexual liberation is for all men and women. Do what you will. We all have different libidos. We're all humans. Sex, you eat, you piss, you shit, you have sex. It's just a normal function. So I don't think the term hoe really exists in my vocabulary unless it's like endearing to my friends. As far as the number, I think again, I don't think it matters. I don't know. As an adult, if I catch myself asking someone that, it's childish. It comes off as childish to me at least. It's okay to I mean, it's okay to keep track, and if that matters to you, that matters to you. I mean, my best friend is, you know, saving herself for marriage and stuff like that. So there's people that matters to, and that's totally fine. But I think that categorizing someone as a hoe is uh just basically saying that they are lesser than, which is dehumanizing, which it goes against my philosophy and my morals and values. And I just don't think that and using any dehumanizing language is adult or mature. So to me, I don't care. I think that you're all wonderful, whether you fucked 0 people, 1 person, or I don't know, triple digits. I'd be a little wary I would just feel insecure myself if I dated someone in the triple digits, but that would be more of me and my insecurities. That would be less about the person.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
I think I think that my yeah, I think putting an arbitrary number is obviously a bit, and I more than that, people can be as big of a freak as they want to. That's not a problem. I think
Mhm.
it comes down to being honest with what you expect from other people and
Mhm.
what you can tolerate, or what you can tolerate from yourself and from others. So if you have hangups about being with somebody that's been with more than 3 people, and you're like, oh, because that was every girl says 3, or every guy says like 10 or
Mhm.
something. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
girls are
Yeah.
supposed to subtract a number, guys usually amplify it, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. I think if you're a person that says, like, if I'm somebody that's been with more than X amount of people, then I have a problem with that. then you're getting hung up out about somebody's past. So if you want to get technical about it, and if you want to be honest with somebody else, you should be honest about the moment that you guys start your relationship, and sort of F whatever
Yeah.
happened before then. Everything before
Yeah.
that is not your business. And if you feel that it is your business, then you probably have other hangups that are
Yeah.
deeper.
And yeah, and that's what I mean. I'm like I said, I know that if I were to ask and get a number of the triple digits, I would have a moment of insecurity and I would have to reason within myself why I'm feeling some type of way. That is not the other person's responsibility because I asked, I wanted to know the knowledge. They shared, they were vulnerable enough to share with me. Now I'm no one to sit here and judge or think that they're dirty or they're less than because they're not. So then I would have to just come like I would have to sit and do the mental processing of why does this bother me? What within me is whether it stems from insecurity or trauma or whatever, why is it that this bothers me so much? And is it something, and if you know beforehand that knowing a number is going to bother you, then you're better off not asking if you're not willing to do the mental work that it takes to deal with that. And I think
Yeah.
most people just go about life judging without knowing why it is that they even think that way. Like
Okay.
you need to put a mirror up to yourself when you have any judgments on anybody. Why do I feel this way? Why am I thinking this way? What makes me uncomfortable about this new term or this new concept that I'm learning? So yeah. When it comes to hoe, why do you define a hoe? Why does it exist? Who taught you? What does it mean to you? Why does it make you uncomfortable for someone to have multiple partners? What number would bother you? Do you even want to ask? Blah, 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 and so on. And it's all about working on yourself.
Now, let's say you were on I don't want to say like a reality show, but let's say like a
Hmm.
situation where you were meeting somebody and you were corresponding with them, right?
Hmm.
And uh, the apocalypse happened, right? And the internet's
Okay.
down. We're having
Okay.
we're back to pen and paper, and you start
Hmm.
corresponding with this guy, and he's like, you guys have the same sensibilities. He's very sweet, he's funny, charismatic, blah blah blah,
Hmm.
accepting of you. And then it turns out he worked for like Brazzers for like 8 years and had sex with like 8,000 women.
Mm.
And then every he's in every porno ever made. he's got like
But
quadruple.
technology is down, so
He's
I
got-
can't see it.
but, well, I mean, but it happened. It happened.
Yeah.
As a fact,
Hmm.
he had sex with over 1,000 women in
Okay.
his life, and
Hmm.
and now he's very in love with you, but he has had
Hmm.
sex with 1,000 women.
Hmm.
You know, it just it depends on what you can live with, right?
So for me, again, I said anything over triple digits would innately make me uncomfortable because of my own insecurities. I would be like, whoa, that's a lot more than what I've had. So I'm nervous now. Fucking you.
Yeah.
But again, those are my insecurities and I would have to work those out. Um, and I like to think that if I really like this guy, that would not stop me from dating him. I would just have to get comfortable with the fact that that was his past. Um, and then honestly, sex workers are like the safest, especially in the porn
Yeah,
industry. So hey,
absolutely.
if you don't have, as long as you're healthy, I don't care. You can show me some new tricks. I don't know.
No, I would take a porn
Yeah.
star to the
What about
Oscars.
you? Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Would you
not care.
date one? Would you date one?
You know what? I think so. I think it's like that
I
thing
can see you
where,
doing that. I feel like you would. Yeah.
yeah, I think that honestly, I think a lot of these are like 20s and early 30s insecurities that people have,
Hmm.
where they
Yeah.
feel like they don't know any better, and they feel like I should hate this, or I should want this for my girl. I should want this from the relationship. I should,
Hmm.
because all the popular like I watched, like I said, I listened to a lot of Howard Stern when I was growing
Hmm.
up. And if you just listen to that, and you learn how to value human relationships from, I mean, obviously I had a lot of other influences, but it's something that I listened to a lot of. you would think that you need a real thing girl that services you on command, that does all these things, and that's what you should strive for in your relationship. A woman that'll be subservient to you, that you can dominate, and this and that, and just does whatever you tell her to, etc., and it's like
Mm-hmm.
perfect shape. But
Right.
as you get, and then you might find, and this is from a male point of view, obviously, you might find a girl attractive, or you might feel feelings for a girl, but she's not classically beautiful, or she might be a little bit overweight, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, I like spending time with her, and I enjoy myself, but then you have this perception that people will make fun of me, or people will think lesser of me because
Mm-hmm.
if they see me holding hands with her, etc., etc. So
Right.
those are things that those are insecurities that you have when you're a teenager, and then the insecurities when you have in your 20s and in your early 30s. I think those are there. I think hitting my 40s, I think a lot of those things sort of stop being important.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely. I think that and plus some of these porn stars, they're very good actresses. They,
Yeah.
they it's yeah, I'm just like, hey,
Yeah.
she could be a legit actress, because I totally believe that was her stepfather, and
Yeah. Oh my God.
I
Uh,
totally believable as I'm
that's
just
so
messing.
believable. The acting was great in this
Yeah,
porno. Yes,
it was.
yes.
I could totally believe. I could tell, like,
I will have turned away from many a porno because it was terrible acting.
yeah.
It's so cringy.
It needs a little. You need to have a, but
It's like, it has to be well acted. It has to be believable. Anyway,
no, that's fine.
anyway,
All right,
that's my 2 cents.
and I think we have one more question here.
Okay.
And today's questions come to us from Zed's Dead, Ted Geller, uh, Boca Homer, Giomata, and Crunchy Wiener. All right.
Crunchy wiener. Love it. Okay.
Thank you, Country Wiener, for
Who
that.
doesn't?
Uh, excuse me. Hey guys, my question today comes from a recent series of events going on with my personal friend group. Mm.
Mm.
Recently, two of my friends broke up, and they make a big part of our friend group, which consists of mostly single people, them being the only couple or ex couple now. My main questions are: can exes be friends? Do mutual friends have to pick sides, or is there a way for a group dynamic to remain the same?
That's a good one. Oh,
You want
what
me,
do you
you want
think?
you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Do mutual friends have to pick sides, or is there any way for group dynamic to remain the same? No. I had this similar situation with somebody that I'm friends with, that we know,
Hmm.
uh, who acted in a movie with you.
Okay.
uh, he broke up, and he was very adamant that I could no longer be friends with his ex girlfriend. Or he was like, he was basically making it seem like it was a legal situation. It's like
I
you
know who you're
can't.
talking about, but are
Yeah,
you saying that you're still friends with her or no? Or that
I'm
was not the
saying
question.
that I'm saying that I'm not going to go out of my way to avoid somebody or avoid any relationship that I have with them because you
Hmm.
tell me to.
Right.
So you're an adult. You are. I'm assuming, or you are your own person. So I don't think there's any person that can really tell you, hey, this person that I brought around you, that that we all hung out together, that became
Mhm.
your friend or whatever,
Don't talk to them
you
anymore.
have to stop, or you have to pick me or her.
Hmm.
Would making the decision be easier for a dynamic? Usually. And if you were originally friends with one of the two people, would that mean that most people would likely gravitate back to being friends with them? Yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't think that you have to.
Yeah.
Is there a way for group dynamics to remain the same? Absolutely not.
That's
You can't
interesting.
you can't unfuck that pig. Uh,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
you can't unplug.
Shakespeare once said.
You can't. They knew what road they were walking down when they were in a
Hmm.
relationship, and it could have led to something, a breakup, and it happened. So there is no way to pretend that it didn't happen. You
Mhm.
gotta let all the guts fly out and pick up the pieces and move on. There's
Yeah.
no, is there a
There's
group,
no going back.
is there a hybrid group environment that might still be salvageable?
Mhm.
Sure. I mean, depends on the maturity level of the people involved, right?
Yeah.
It's basically like a divorce, and the kids are really gonna take the kids are gonna react to the divorce depending on how the parents react to the divorce. If when the kids are getting handed off, the parents are cordial and they don't talk bad about each other. But if
Yeah.
there's like one of these like, oh, you don't ask me why your dad doesn't come visit you. It's
Yeah.
because he's busy with his new family and he hates you. If it's one of those situations there, so if the two people can be cordial with each other and they still want to, uh, there can be some sort of weird new dynamic that might
Mhm.
develop. But the old dynamic is dead and buried.
Mhm.
That's my take. And then the last part of that was the can exes be friends? I am friends with some exes.
Yeah.
I believe that it is a possibility, and it all comes
Mhm.
and the problem is that with most of the X dynamics, somebody is probably still holding out hope,
Mhm.
and sometimes that switches from one person to the next, maybe in that
Right.
X's friends dynamic. So I think it just comes down to if they can truly put aside the previous dynamic and say there's X's that I could if I need advice,
Mhm.
I can hit up and say, "Hey, I need some advice on this," or X's that I keep in the loop about major events and stuff happening in my life because I
Mhm.
know that they knew me during a time that I was working on something or doing something, and I feel like keeping them in the loop is just me sort of I feel that it's important to talk to people in my this is personal. I feel it's important I enjoy talking to people in the past that knew me when I would talk about wanting to make movies all the time.
Mhm.
Like that's something that my old friends tell me, like when they talk to him from New York and stuff like that. They're like, "Hey, man, I love that you're doing what you love. I love that
Yeah.
you used to talk in high school and here and there. You used to talk about nonstop about wanting to make movies, and you're actually doing that. Even though I'm not doing it on like the level that I dreamed about, I'm doing it. I'm actually doing what I love at least part of the time. So for me personally, I enjoy I can definitely I'm not the burn the bridge guy. I'm the keep in touch with everybody because
Yeah.
I'm a gray area guy. I understand the benefits of human relationships. So it's going to depend on what the relationship was, what you guys want from it moving forward, and
Yeah.
whether you can just be respectful and honest with each other.
I was gonna say that kind of goes back to the whole human connection topic that was kind of our main message with the whole question is it's human connections above all else. And I love how you said about not burning bridges. I tend to do the same. I think I keep honestly most of my exes are like acquaintances. Um, there's still I still reach out for whatever topics I need advice with, or if I'm whatever having trouble, or I just and they do the same, and there's certain interests and I like how you said that you enjoy talking to people that met you during a certain time in your life because that is something that is pretty cool when you date somebody is they are meeting you, they're getting you for that chunk of time. And sometimes it's nice to revisit. Sometimes it's nice to ask advice from the person who knew you at that moment in time. Um so yeah, to answer that question, the friend one, I think that they can. I don't know about friends for like true friendship. Like friends. Yeah, I don't know about like true unadulterated friendship. I think that may be a little too close, but that depends on the couple, right? Like I can say I'm genuinely like besties, like really good friends with one of my exes, but I am a deep believer that the reason why we're that close is because our relationship was very brief and it was when we were kids. So it kind of didn't matter. Then the relationships that I've had that have been more serious or more mature, we have stayed acquaintances. Uh, I don't think I could ever revisit like a friendship where we're like kicking it all the time, because of what you said. Like sometimes people can get confused. Maybe like old, stuff rekindles, whatever. So I personally wouldn't do it. I would do acquaintances. I think it's nice as a gray area girl to keep in contact and to keep connections alive. But does that mean you have to be besties? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't necessarily go for friendship. But I think it's possible. It's possible depending on what kind of dynamic and how deep your connection was and stuff like that. If you're doing it for the friends, if you're like, hey, let's keep this group alive, then you have to talk. That's something the couple has to address and see if they're going to be able to emotionally cope with being around each other during, the group pangs and stuff like that. Oh my god, dude, I honestly looked at that poster. I remember I walked into your room and I was like, when did we film that? What was that?
I was like,
Yikes.
you look so much like this chick.
Yeah, the eyebrows. Oh my gosh.
The eyebrows.
Where did you even find that? My god.
I don't. You
So
know
long
what? I
ago.
was looking. It was just a movie website, and I was looking through different movies, and I just saw this, and I was like, "Where the fuck did Sophia? Why is she
I
on this
ge-
poster?"
yeah, I genuinely thought like I was like, is that something we filmed? Like did you make a poster for something? I don't remember.
Your nose is a little bit like her nose is a
No,
little bit
it's the
more
lighting. It's
narrow.
the lighting.
Yeah, it's the lighting, but
Okay.
the lips are very similar, and the eyebrows,
Eyebrows are
the
fucking
hair,
on point. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Lily Collins, and you could be separated at birth.
Yikes.
All right,
But yeah. What were
that
the other
was
questions? Was that it?
that was the other. We just got one last thing here,
Okay.
Miss Sophia, and
What?
no, it's
Oh my
something
god.
that
You need to
it's
stop
something
directing. I'm directing the next one. God, I don't trust you. What are
it's
you doing?
something that I like to call
Hmm. Bracket bit. No, okay.
All right, boys and girls, you know what that sound means. It's time for bracket bit. Bracket bit. Bracket bit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Bracket bit. Bracket bit. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Fireside chats.
No. No,
goddamn right
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. I'm like, he's not gonna do a bracket bit. All right, what do we got? I do love these though. Oh,
podcast
name,
names.
podcast name bracket bit. I know this. This podcast is like it has an identity crisis because it's 2 a.m. burrito, and then it's fire, and then it's whatever
Yeah,
with Lou.
sorry, we'll figure it
Now
out.
it's Lufia. We'll figure it out. All right,
We'll figure it out. Either way,
together.
we need to come out with so I put some of the ones that you wrote, and I put
So
some of the ones that I wrote, and I
for
figured
Lufia, I was thinking, what about like lo-fi, like lo-fi music? I don't know. I think
lo-fi,
that's cool.
the lo-fi podcast. I don't
A
mind that.
lo-fi podcast. It sounds pretty cool, right? Lo-fi.
Yeah, lo-fi podcast to do music, to
We're gonna be
study,
like, is
and
it a music podcast? We're like, not even close.
that's better than Chisme Libre.
Chisme Libre is pretty cool though. All right, fine. All right, yeah, no. All right, let's
Uh,
see. Yeah, no, lo-fi for sure, or
Que
Lufia.
pasa, que onda, or Smokey and the Babe.
¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué onda? Come on, come
All right.
on.
MX show or palindrome, which I don't know. I just like as a word. But what is a
Palindrome.
palindrome? What's a palindrome? Palindrome is same
Isn't that
forward as
like a word
backwards.
thing?
Isn't
Yeah,
that
yeah,
same
yeah.
forward as backwards?
Yeah, it's a word that's like spelled, yeah, same same forward as backwards. Which makes no sense for a podcast, but I like the word as well. What's the other one? MX show?
Uh, MX show. I don't know.
Lo-fi. People are gonna call
Lo-fi.
it lofi.
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 Which one of these?
It's just MX show?
Yeah, I don't know why I had that. It was just on our list.
I'll put palindrome then, because MX show is just nah.
HPT, Hispanic People Time, or beer, blunts, and burritos.
Ooh, I like Hispanic people time. HPT.
HPT. Mi Gente, or this is what I would call my Succession podcast, Only Bangers. Did you watch Succession?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
But I know the
But
term only bangers.
yeah, it was
Um,
just a part where he was having a birthday party, and it's this fucking bunch of billionaires, and he's like, "Is this on my playlist? I thought I said only bangers."
only bangers. I love that. I'll say mi gente though. What do you think?
Yeah, it's fine. Mi Gente is fine.
Yeah.
Habla Hispana or Mi Gente Daily.
Oh, I mean, we already have mi gente, so let's do habla hispana.
Cars on Mars, which makes no sense, or dispensa chat, or dispen chat.
What is it? Dispensa or dispense?
Dispensa,
Dispensa.
dispensa chat.
Dispensa chat. Oh, yeah, that one. I mean, right.
Los burritos salvajes or chismosos.
This is like, did you watch Club de Cuervos? Where they changed the soccer name from Los Cuervos to Los Cuervos Salvajes Negros de Luego Toledo.
Nice. That's
Cuervos,
kinda-
cuervos. Sorry. Chismosos podcast. Oh man. I'm
Chismosos.
based on the topics. I think chismosos makes more sense than los burritos salvajes.
Chismosos. All right, chismosos. All right. Bojacking Off, which is what my BoJack Horseman podcast is going to be called, or South of America.
Oh.
Oh, I do want to do a BoJack Horseman podcast, though.
South of America. I mean, South of America, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Bojacking off. Because bojacking off is just no.
Whale's Vagina Today or Tipsy Talk. WVT.
Dude, Whale's Vagina just sounds so cool, but we're not going to get sponsors. It's going to be like, what's the name?
What's the name? What's from a movie?
What's the name again? We'll be like, it's Anchorman reference. San Diego.
Yeah.
Whale's Vagina is just so good.
Over the Border or No Names Way. Which is a bit, I don't know if you could call the whole podcast.
I don't think you could call because people are going to be like, no names.
No names, we?
No names, we? Yeah, over the border.
Mexitino or Lucha Chisme?
Ooh. Oh, these are good. Lucha Chisme is just funny.
Lucha Chisme is good.
Mexitino. Yeah, Lucha Chisme is great.
Beaner Nation or Vibe Check. Although I did check and there's a bunch of podcasts called some sort of version of Vibe Check.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Vibe Check just doesn't. I feel like we're more of like a newsy thing. But then Beaner Nation, is that not PC enough? Are people going to be like, yo?
I know. I mean, it's our podcast. We can call it whatever.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
What did we come up with earlier? The Platiquemos.
Oh, I like that. What's under that? I don't see it.
Los Vibes.
Los Vibes. Las Vibras.
Sounds like a Mexican U2 cover band, something like that. Los Vibes.
I guess Platiquemos is good because we're just talking, we chatting.
La Sopa or Vanilla Beaners.
You just really want beaners in here. Vanilla Beaners is pretty cool though. But I'll say La Sopa because
This is our pretentious name. In Vino Veritas. Question everything. That's our conspiracy theory name.
Yes. And what's that? I can't see. What's it against?
Oh, sorry. Let me change our thing here. Oh, okay.
Okay. In Vino Veritas.
Or question everything.
Oh. Not a fan of either. They're not going to make it through the next round, so you choose.
All right. So La Sopa.
Right.
Beaner Nation or Platiquemos?
Platiquemos.
Over the Border or Lucha Chisme?
Oh, that's hard. That's hard. I want both of them because I'm a border. I do love Lucha Chisme. It's just I'm a border baby. So anything border, I'm like, yeah.
Whale's Vagina Today or South of America?
Is it bad that I love Whale's Vagina?
Dispensa Chat or Chismosos?
Oh, these are good. Dispensa Chat, I think.
Habla Hispana or Mi Gente?
Oh, those are my favorites. Oh no, those are my two favorites. Which one? What do you think? Let's talk before you choose. Hold on. Let's have a conversation on this one because I love both.
I feel like there's probably a shit ton of Mi Gente sort of theme past. I don't love Habla Hispana, but I think it would be more realistic than Mi Gente. Yeah, I think Mi Gente would need something else to it. It would need like, what if it was like Mi Gentex?
Mi Gentex. see. Okay, hold on. Let me see if
Okay, yeah.
habla hispana is anywhere. Let me go to handy dandy spotty.
I think mi gentex.
Mi gentex. No, that's out. Come on. Let's do-
Come on.
Podcast.
That is the wokest of names.
There is not that many mi gentes. Wait, hold on. I don't think there's a lot of mi gentes.
All right, well, let's put that one through then.
Podcast, yeah. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Mi gente on air. There's a documentary. Okay. And then this other one, Habla Hispana. Habla Hispana podcasts. La Crema podcast, Noticias Hispana. There is Se Habla Real. Okay, so neither of them are alive, and so those are pretty good ones actually. What do you like?
I like mi gente / possibly gentex.
I hate Gentex, but Mi Gente is good.
Mi
You
gente.
know, you're never gonna stop making Mi Gentex happen. It's never gonna happen. It's not. It's like fetch. You know.
Mi gentex would almost be like a parody podcast, like pretending to be like over woke, like
Yeah. Oh, can we do one episode like that? It's like Mi
so
Gente,
it could
but
be
Mi
it could be
Gentex.
it could be a bit. It could be like a bit. All right.
Try to
Palindrome.
translate that for English. Imagine I'm a white lady. So, what does your podcast name mean? So can you translate it in English?
Yeah, it means my people my people.
Doesn't that seem wait, don't people have a thing about against saying like my people? But also we're Latinos, so they can't say shit to us anyway.
No,
Whatever.
it's our people. It's our people. Hispanic
Wow, how
people time.
exclusionary. Okay, Hispanic people time?
Or the palindromes, which again has nothing to do with us. It's just a word that I liked.
I almost wish habla hispana was there instead of Hispanic people time.
You like habla hispana?
I love habla hispana, yeah.
Hispanic people habla?
Los hispanos. I don't know. I love mi gente en habla hispana. Okay, continue. It's gonna be down to those two.
Lo-fi or que pasa, que onda?
I love those two. Those are so alivianados. Like, ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué onda? I do think there's a lot of ¿qué onda and ¿qué pasa?
I like
podcasts
lo-fi
already.
myself. I like lo-fi.
You like lo-fi?
I do like the lo-fi. Lufia.
It's very simple. Lo-fi podcast. Let me check if it exists already, actually.
I mean, there's also the whole lo-fi beats to study, groove to radio stations that everybody loves.
We're gonna get so many people that are like accidentally looking for relaxing music.
Yeah, the lo-fi podcast.
The lo-fi podcast.
Lo-fi, because it has our names too. It's like Lufia, lo-fi. Okay, so we got lo-fi or Hispanic people time.
Lo-fi.
Mi gente or dispensa chat.
Mi gente. No mi
Whales,
gentex.
Whales vagina today or lucha chisme.
Lucha chisme is so good.
It's more realistic too.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, Will's vagina.
Platiquemos o la sopa.
That's hard.
I mean, it's not a cooking show.
What do you think? I know, but it's like the soup, But yeah, como tirando toda la sopa, soltando la sopa.
Well, I think if we were like truly going to
Platiquemos is better though, because we're going to be talking about a lot of topics that are going to be serious, as opposed to like.
Yeah, but we're also talking about them in English.
That's true.
So I think it would, if we were like truly like half and half, like if half the conversation was in Spanish, it was truly like bilingual, then I think platiquemos would make more sense. But if it's like la sopa feels more generic in terms of like, it doesn't mean.
We say la sopa.
La sopa.
I mean, let's be honest, neither of them are going to win. So.
Well, we got four here.
What are they up against?
We got lucha chisme.
You got to zoom in a little bit. There you go.
Lucha chisme or la sopa. I like lucha chisme.
I know. I'm more so torn on lo-fi and mi gente because I want it to be both. I'm not. Let's be honest. That's the final two right there.
Right, and then for lucha chisme, we already have the. That's
Wait,
the
Lucha Chisme can actually be like it can be a segment. What is that? Is that what's his face?
that's me.
Sí, bebé. Oh, that's you. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's me as a luchador. That's me as I played a
As a
luchador in a
luchador?
movie.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's sick. Actually, what movie?
Um, it's a movie by Ian Tripp. It's called Sincerely Saul, and
Hmm.
I play a character on a TV show that the main character used to watch as a kid, and my name
Hmm.
is Lucha Maximo Supreme. It's like a
Oh,
hybrid Power Rangers slash luchador show.
okay.
So I play him older, and like he's at a convention and he has an interaction with the main character at the
I can totally see you as a luchador with like your like deep luchador talk.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that
So yeah, it was like
accent.
oh,
Yeah.
so pluses on Lucha Chisme is I can use some of
Mm.
those existing pictures that I have as promo. La
Uh-huh.
Sopa.
Oh, there is a lo-fi podcast already. Oh my
I
God, there's
don't.
two. There's lo-fi podcast and there's a lofi podcast. A lo-fi podcast. Let me check from mi gente. Okay, so la sopa, lucha chisme.
I think I like Lucha Chisme.
You really like it. I'm thinking it can be a segment. Hold on. Mi gente Anu.
La
I
Sopa. Can you really be like, hey, welcome to La Sopa?
No, I honestly I think my fave out of the four are right now is mi gente. Cause it just gets across the like general vibe of the show. Yes. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? Wow, you're putting it really quickly. Do you agree?
Well, yeah, you like it better than Lo-Fi. There's already a couple of podcasts named Lo-Fi.
I like lo-fi too. I see they're both so good. We'll leave it at mi gente for now. Or we'll leave it at lo-fi or both. I don't know. We narrowed it down to two people, so hey, that's
How
a lot of
about
progress.
how about a Lo-Fi Gente?
Lo-fi gente.
Oh, that's bad because it makes it look like we're lower class people.
Like we're lower class, yeah.
Low fidelity gente.
We're so low in fidelity. I like mi gente. Just I think we could be like, hey, listen to our podcast, mi gente podcast. Yeah,
What's up? And then we
lo-fi
could
lo-fi's cool too though.
our
Damn.
intro could be like, "What's up, mi gente?"
What's up, mi gente? Yeah. I do say mi gente a lot.
But there's already we got to look into that. That'll be your homework. Out of the
Okay.
top ones that we liked, how many competing podcasts are there, and could we destroy them?
I know, right? And you know which one had the most? Because I already did a few. At least my ideas. I've like checked most of them, or the ones that we exchanged.
Mhm.
¿Qué onda? ¿En qué pasa? So many iterations.
Yeah,
So many
absolutely.
iterations. I was like, oh my God, let's do ¿Qué onda? And then I looked. I'm like, wow, there's like 20. That's crazy.
Well, at least the
Mhm.
one thing that's good is that we were thinking that we were going to be able to do this in an hour, and then
We
we
are
said,
so long-winded. Let next time, two topics per people, two topics per person, because I think we both came with like three or four. And No Names also had a lot of traffic. I didn't expect it. I thought we were gonna get one or two questions.
no, I spammed a couple of groups and stuff with it, and I
Yeah, me
guess
too.
7 is good.
Yeah.
So we're at 2 hours and 33 minutes.
Yeah, we need to narrow that down to like an hour less. Well, two topics next week.
Plus, but I did,
Uh,
I do what I do is since I'm always working and on the internet, I have my bookmarks that I just create new folders inside of folders. So I have a Lufia
mhm.
folder that's got like every time I was reading an article or something, I was like, oh, this is something I want to bring up. I would just bookmark it, and then inside the Lufia folder, I put episode 1, and I had 16 tabs that I had. Well, like some of them were just nothing, like that TikTok grandma and the other stuff and videos that I pulled up. So that's
Right.
basically like how I'm how so I had a since we've been thinking about since we've been leading up to episode 1 for a while.
Hmm.
I had a bunch of I had a bunch that was saved up.
Yeah.
But ideally, if we do this weekly or bi-weekly, um it'll be less things that come up. It'll probably be like the 2 or 3 things that everybody's talking about that week.
You'd be surprised because I honestly had like 5 other topics on the back burner that I'm like, all right, next week. I'll save that for next week.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on in the world. A lot going on.
yeah. I mean,
Want to talk about
entertainment.
Puerto Rico too, the taxes over there, and there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's I mean, there's Puerto Rico. I mean, there's a lot of entertainment stuff. There's sports stuff. There's a billion things going on. So,
Oh yeah,
and then next week is the Super Bowl, so we can talk about the commercials.
I know, right?
What
Oh
your
man,
what your favorite commercial was? That's the big
what time
topic
is
of
What time is the Super Bowl gonna be this year?
Super Bowl is
Usually like an
usually.
afternoon, but like at 1 p.m. ish, 2,
Yeah,
3.
usually Super Bowls kick off like between like 5:30 and 6 o'clock East Coast time. So they usually kick
Mm-hmm.
off. The earliest they'll kick off is like 2, 3 in the afternoon. More like usually like 3:30 is usually when
Yeah,
kickoff is because it's a
so
Sunday.
it's a nice little window for me. I have acting class in the morning, and then I have the podcast at night. Hello.
You doing virtual or in person?
Sunday, fun day, fun day. No, in person. We could talk about this off air. This does not need to go on air. I'm so sorry, viewers. But be
All right.
proud of me.
All right. Well, let me hit that outro and thank you everybody that stuck through
Thank
2 hours and
you.
35 minutes. Thank you
Honestly,
everybody that contributed, everybody that stepped in with comments. I appreciate everything. Until next week on the Lufia Lo-Fi Mi Gente 2 a.m. Burrito podcast.
thank you.
Um,
Thank you for coming. Thank you for participating. Love you guys.
and then peace out.
Hasta luego, mi gente.
I'll see you in 30 seconds.
See you in 30 seconds.